So how you feeling?
I got some KFC in me.
Oh, is that what that is?
That is KFC, yeah.
That's pretty good. KFC's pretty solid.
I actually haven't had KFC in a long time.
You know, there is someone who shall remain nameless that once claimed that we all didn't like KFC.
What a little bastard.
And I immediately stepped up and said, I like KFC. And then I think you said, I'm fine with KFC. And then that person dropped the conversation, and then we moved on.
And then he ducked and rolled out of the car into oncoming traffic.
That person was not... I'm not referring to Brock, who we have on with us right now. Brock, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Stone?
I'm doing pretty solid. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing phantasmagorical.
Well, not only do we have... Brock, when was the last time you were on again?
Like 44.
Oh, that was a while ago.
44?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
so much for every 5 podcasts.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought we signed that quote-unquote contract.
Yeah,
where
we had the deal.
Every 5 podcasts we have you on, but... Wait, have you done the Daily Bup?
I have not.
Are we going to do it on the podcast?
Honestly, if you want to do it on the podcast this time, then sure.
Well, hey man, if the viewers have said they like change, they like changing it up. So if we do it on the podcast, I don't know, throw it at the microphone or whatever.
Oh, that's going to sound great for Brock. Yeah, he's going to wince in his headphones, be like, oh.
I'll give you a heads up, and you just...
Take the headphones off.
Yeah, for like 5 seconds. It's not like... You know, there's no way around it.
You can hear the buck cube hit the mic, and then their viewers are gonna hear, "Oh Lord Jesus, me ears."
That could be kind of funny.
I'm gonna turn into a Catholic Irish for a second.
Well, you could throw it at the microphone, and Brock will just guess what it is.
What?
There's only 6 guesses.
Well, he's gonna find out later.
I'm just saying, man. But anyways, we got some big news.
Oh boy.
It is official. We will have baseball this year.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it happening?
They made a deal earlier today.
Oh shit.
That's why I started that song, because I knew exactly. The whole day felt pretty good.
Well, so what happened? Were the players finally like, fine?
Well, it's funny you said that. The players voted in favor of the deal, 26-12. So it's a little worrisome when you really get into the details, which I'll leave out. But essentially, we have a deal. It's a 5-year CBA, so we're going to do this again in 5 years.
Oh, fuck.
That's just the name of the game. But there will be baseball. There will be a full season. It will be on April 7th. So we're looking good. And you know what? The whole ironic part about this whole thing, I told my dad this,
is that Russell's not going to stop with FanDuel.
Oh, God. I forgot about FanDuel and baseball. But we'll get to that bridge later. We want baseball back. Diamondbacks are awful. So they're not going to do anything. So it's just very ironic that it's like, we want baseball back so we can watch
our team lose.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, you watch it for the game. You watch it for the other teams. You watch it so you can watch your other teams lose. Hey, by the way, Kershaw's a free agent, so he could sign anywhere.
Choke shot.
But anyways, that's the big news of the day. On a side note, the Coyotes beat the Maple Leafs. They're playing in Canada right now. That's pretty cool. Well, not right now. The game's over. And it's been a pretty good day today. And another thing. How many subscribers do you have, Alex?
What do you mean, followers?
Or followers, yeah.
40K.
40,000. 40,000! How do you feel about that?
That's like enough to start like a independent nation.
Is it? I actually don't know.
I don't know. I could probably like invade Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein?
And, like, Liechtenstein.
Well, why don't you start with Madagascar and take it from there?
Okay.
Okay.
And then you call it Madagascar 2, Escape to Elmfrica.
Oh, no.
Aren't they making a 4th Madagascar?
God, I hope not.
They're making a 5th Shrek.
Well, that's been in the woodwork for like 5 years.
It's development hell. What are you gonna
Madagascar 4. Alex is Zoolander. Ben Stiller is out of ideas.
Hey, you know what? Have you seen Ben Stiller's new show Severance?
I have not. I have been working like 25 different gig jobs.
So tell us about some of those gig jobs.
Well, mostly it consists of teaching. So I teach voice acting, animation, stage theater, TV theater, stuff for improv, stuff for structured improv. Then we've got stuff where I'm running seminars with different levels of children through teens, through adults with different types of fine arts. So that's everything from painting to bamboo quill art to watercolors to sculpture to mixed media. It's like a whole lot of different things. And so the way it shakes down is on top of that, I'm working on my own publishing stuff, some merchandising things, getting some online art sales platforms up. And I just finished a 7-month art gallery exhibition, which has been up since September.
And that was the longest exhibition that's ever been up in that building, right?
Yeah, it's the longest that's ever been up there because people kept canceling, and I kept being like, "Oh, I can take that slot. Don't worry about it. Don't even trip, guys. I got it."
I heard voice acting and all of that.
Bruh.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of stuff. But no, to be fair,
Yeah, there's a few I left out there because I don't want to be boring.
what'd you leave out?
A lot of it boils down to kind of repetitions of similar stuff. So it's like I've got stuff that winds up being things on like self-publishing and comic creation and stuff like that. And then over spring break, I'm just doing like specialized, kind of like multidisciplinary arts programs with students that are off for the spring break in middle school and elementary school.
Where do you find your free time?
Insomnia.
Okay, fair. Have you read that book by Stephen King?
The Insomnia?
Yeah, Insomnia.
Yep.
Oh, you read it? What'd you think of it?
I think that Stephen King is pretty consistently good. I think that what Stephen King maybe has a few issues with is that there's a few of his books in like the lesser known, lesser named ones that don't come up as much on lists, where you read those and you're like, wow, this is it, but instead of a clown, it's a jester, and instead of kids, it's teens, and instead of the town of Derry, Maine, it's the town of Flemgo, Maine. Why are all of Stephen King's books in Maine?
Well, I used to think that was weird too, but then I thought of it too. Because I've thought about trying to get into writing. If I wrote, I'm telling you, most things I'm going to write are going to take place in Arizona. I know it. I mean, I'm not going to have it take place in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've never been there. Why would anybody do that?
You could.
Well, yeah, I could. For starting out, I don't think it's a very good idea. Kind of like if you were to tell me, so I'm thinking about playing drums, I'd say, okay, what are you going to start with?
Hot for Teacher by Van Halen.
I'd say, yeah, I'd say, no. Yeah, it'd be like if you said bleed. I want to learn to bleed. I'd go, why don't you start with AC/DC and then work your way up? Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to play it for 10 minutes, get frustrated, and then quit. And it's like, okay, well then, why'd you set the bar so high?
Yeah.
But anyways, it's funny you say that because Insomnia does take place in Derry.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was going to say there's definitely a bit of a theme to some of the ones that he's got going there.
Stephen King, why do you have all of your books take place in Maine? I love Maine.
Hey, he had one Desperation that took place in Nevada. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then guess where the book ends? In Maine.
You know what? You said you were interested in writing. Mm-hmm. I would love for your first book to be titled The Stone Chronicles, Book 1, Like a Rolling Stone.
There's so many lawsuits in that sentence you just said. I might have to pass on, all of it. But it's funny. Recently, I did write a short story.
Oh, did you?
Lit. Mm-hmm. What was it about?
What's it called?
It's called The House Where No Murders Took Place.
And let me guess, the story is about a house where no murders took place.
How'd you guess?
It's just a regular house. It's just like, hey man, what'd you do at work today? My boss kept me an extra hour. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna go upstairs and play some Destiny too. All right. And they went to bed, and that was it.
I mean, it's literally 4 pages long. It's short. It's not double spaced though. So if I double spaced it, I could maybe get 5.5 pages out of it, maybe 6. But yeah. Do you know how many stories I've started and just stopped?
I've written a few short stories before, but like,
I think
they're all fucking stupid. Like, there's this one that I wrote where it's like this guy is going, like, he's like a lone warrior, and he goes into like the ruins of this like cryptic kingdom, and it's like the skeletons of all the dead men are just like surrounding this Lich King that's sitting on this throne with a giant sword, and the guy goes, "I will defeat you, Lich King, for the glory of my kingdom, and so that Whataburger will have the Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich on their menu year-round!" And the guy goes, "What?" And then this Lich King gets his ass kicked. I mean, and that's the short story.
I mean, I'm telling you, I really think you should have a spin-off comic of you and Russell, but you create. I actually think it should be you and Russell, just cartoon, comic versions of you, and you drink that limoncello, and you time travel, and each edition is you go to a different historical event and mess it up, or make it better, and just end up making it worse.
Well,
funny.
Here's the problem with your speech, Mr. Hitler, said Russell in an angry tone.
No, you go to Detroit, and you're like, oh wait, is that Jimmy Hoffa? Oh, let's follow that car. Wait, Russell, what are you doing? We lost him. Now we're never gonna know what happened to Jimmy because Russell's taking pictures of the restaurant. Well, things like that.
I know where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, and now there are 6 black SUVs parked outside my house.
Oh my god! But
And as soon as you take me along on an adventure with the two of you in the context of these stories, when Russell messes up and you guys don't solve a mystery, I just go, Russell!
Every comic ends with somebody yelling Russell's name because Russell ultimately just messes it up for everybody.
I'm the straight man. Russell's the goofy one. You're the man behind it.
I've never met Russell, but I have screamed his name a lot, like just out of anger, because Alex keeps telling me these stories, and Russell doesn't even do anything wrong in the stories. I'm just like, Russell! Russell! Every time his name comes up.
That's what Brock's gonna do the first, like, whenever he comes down here and meets all of us, he's gonna be like, Ben, nice to meet you. Zane, good to see you. I like your music. Stone, it's nice to finally meet you in person. Russell! And then he's just gonna move on to someone else.
Just do the politician handshake.
Screams, refuses to elaborate. Sounds like me.
Screams but refuses to elaborate. That sounds like a Bankai song title.
Waving the white flag so fast that the opponents didn't see it, so they kept attacking.
Hey, that's really funny. But
I will go down with the ship.
So anyway, what is it? It's March 10th?
It is.
Okay.
It's Mario Day.
Oh yeah, wasn't something going to happen? Or people were saying something was going to happen?
People thought that they were going to drop the Mario movie trailer today, but they didn't.
How do people feel about the Chris Pratt Mario thing again?
People either think it's the best meme ever, or they think it's fucking stupid because Mario has a voice actor, and his name is Charles Martinet, and he's been Mario's voice for like over 20 years.
Why didn't he want to? Did they not bring him back? Did he not want to?
He's in the movie. He just doesn't play Mario.
But why?
I don't know.
See, that's what I want to know. Because if he doesn't want to play Mario, then nobody should jump Chris Pratt.
He today on his Instagram, Charles Martinet, he's like in fucking like Prague or something in like Eastern Europe, and he's like, "Woohoo! It's Happy Mario Day, yippee!" with like a fucking Mario hat on. So of course he still wants to play Mario.
Well,
so
then...
it's just something with the movie. Like I bet Miyamoto, that swine bastard, he was like, "Listen, you've had it far too good for far too long."
Well, what name is gonna sell? Chris Pratt or what's this guy's name?
Charles Martinet.
People know Chris Pratt more than Charles Martinet.
Well,
and don't give me the hardcore fans.
Well, people know Mario.
Yeah, Mario, but not the guy who voices Mario.
I mean, I guess so, but it's not like Chris Pratt is putting on like a fake mustache and he's jumping around. It's not a live action thing.
No, but they hear Chris Pratt's name voicing Mario.
Jack Black's also in it.
Yeah, and Jack Black's a bigger name.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
I would love to know if the guy didn't want to, or if he did, but the studio just said no, because that'd be really odd. But then, if you're Chris Pratt, what are you supposed to do? Hey, here's $10 million to, go in that room over there and read some lines. No, thanks. I don't want to. I mean, come on. Brock, what do you think?
My thoughts on this one are kind of complex. My personal feeling is that I think it's a missed opportunity because even if people don't know the voice actor, they do know the voice, right? Like, if you played a Mario game and you've heard Mario go, "Woohoo! I'm an offensive Italian stereotype. Here I go." You know, you hear that and you go, "Oh, that's Super Mario." And then when Mario like jumps out of the pipe and like bumped a block and a coin pop out at the start of the Super Mario Brothers film, and the audience is filled with mirth and glee, and then they hear Chris Pratt go, "Hello, I'm Mario," generic white guy's voice. People are gonna be like, "Oh shit, they could have got Seth Rogen for this."
And Seth Rogen's already in the movie, and he plays Donkey Kong.
You know what? That's a good idea. If Seth Rogen was Mario, I feel like people wouldn't be as upset.
I'm doing shrooms.
I think that's a fair point.
Luigi! Oh,
But look
Luigi!
at it.
Oh my God! Have
Look
you
at it
seen
this
this
way.
mushroom, dude? Oh.
I mean, you got the Beatles. You think of the Beatles, who do you think of?
Ringo Starr.
Nope. You're just saying that.
George.
You're just saying that.
No,
But either way.
you want to know why? You want to know why Ringo Starr's the first name that comes
Ringo
up?
Starr was in
Family
Thomas
Guy?
the Train.
Ringo.
Was he?
In the
Yeah.
he was the narrator for Thomas the Tank Engine,
I didn't know
like
that.
like back in the day.
Okay.
So that's why it comes to George Carlin was the fucking voice in America.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like if you had to pick a name, no one's gonna pick George Harrison to represent the Beatles
Well, they're gonna pick John Lennon or
Paul McCartney.
Carl McCartney. Yeah.
You pick Rush. No one's gonna pick Alex Lifeson.
McCartney.
So I look at it like that is they want a big name. It's funny because Chris Pratt's not the biggest guy in Hollywood. I mean, Chris Pratt, but he probably doesn't want to do it, and I don't think that'd work either.
Chris Pratt's fine. He's like he had that like syndrome that Dwayne the Rock Johnson had.
What was that?
I'm in every single movie that comes out for the next 3 years. Itis. You know,
Well,
he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, Jurassic World, Interstellar. Like, was Interstellar the one where him and J-Law are like in the space station? And he's like
Passengers.
Passengers.
Yeah,
that's
not
the one.
Interstellar. Yeah.
Interstellar's the one where
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, the space station fucking blows up.
No.
That was the one where
Reason to shoot down the
What space
SS.
station?
It mocks God. If we put people on other planets, I will be spacist to them.
Spacist.
Yeah. Now it's not on the basis of any culture or skin tone. Now it's just like those fucking Martians. You know, good people. Don't leave them alone with your toolbox. I'm just saying.
Jesus.
That's kind of funny. Who's like the biggest comedian right now? Who'd you say?
Shit. You. Yes, Brock. I don't know. Well,
Not even with my last name, just Brock. Like everyone's confused why they're at the show.
He's
They're like,
Prince, Madonna.
why is this strange gangly man telling us about the history of the Titanic?
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. But I don't know. Imagine you have a comedian and you have Bill Burr. He's a name, but he's not the biggest name in comedy right now.
I don't know. He was in Breaking Bad. He was in The Mandalorian.
What's his name in Breaking Bad? You remember the character name?
Douchebag 1.
Exactly. You don't even know the guy's name. I didn't even know I saw Breaking Bad and saw Bill Burr. And when I watched him years later on your computer, I didn't say, that's the guy from Breaking Bad. I said, this guy's funny. So, Bill Burr kind of has that thing about how he literally looks like a normal guy. Chris Pratt looks like an actor. He looks like Hollywood.
I guess, yeah.
If I got into Hollywood, I would not look like an actor. I'd have the name, but I would not have the face.
Speaking of having the face for Hollywood,
What do you got?
It bugs me that Tom Holland has the same fucking stupid, like, oh no, did I do that face?
Why do you hate Tom Holland so much?
Because he's fucking British.
Okay, you got anything else? This is kind of Russell territory where you just hate something because they're popular, and when someone goes,
I don't
why?
hate him because he's popular.
Yeah, because he's British.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
honestly might be a worse reason. You might as well have just said because he's popular.
It's like, ooh, I love tea. Yeah,
What are you talking about? This
He's
just sounds
one of the-
personal.
he's-
You know who else loves tea?
Tom Holland.
Several people in countries such as Australia, Canada, and parts of India and the Middle East, encompassing several different types.
chamomile.
Chamomile. Well, like, Okay, again. Tom
Chamomile
Holland-
sounds like a food that you try to go find and it hides from you. It's a chamomile. You're like, where the fuck did I put dinner? And like it's creeping around. It's like
Ha.
avoiding your detection on
Ha
the
ha.
Soliton radar.
Ha ha ha. 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 Okay.
I had to cut that.
That was a. All right, well, Brock, this is the last time you're going to be on the podcast. So hope you had a good time.
This is Alex's call, not mine, so get mad at him.
I'm kidding.
What was I...
Something about Tom Holland.
Yeah, why do you hate Tom Holland again?
I told you.
Because he's British?
He's British. He's one of the few British people to get out of the stereotype of they have bad teeth.
True. True. I didn't know he was British. And Andrew Garfield was born in L.A.
Ambulance!
but he's got a British accent. Isn't that odd? But I don't know, because Russell was saying one time he was like bad mouthing Zendaya. Is that how you say it?
Zendaya!
Zendaya!
Is that how you say the name? Zendaya?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was just like
You have to emphasize all the syllables and say it like you're a marketing person for a Hollywood studio casting a movie and you didn't think of who to cast, so you just look at your phone and whoever pops up at the top of the feed from some like 14-year-old white girl's Stan account, and then you go, I know who we should cast. Zendaya.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I'm looking her name up right now. Okay, so it's actually her name.
Get a fucking last name, will you please?
Zendaya Marie Stormer Coleman.
Oh, okay.
I might be saying that Stormer name wrong. I do apologize.
That's pretentious in the complete opposite. In the complete opposite way. It's like these
Wait.
people.
She has Stormer as a middle name? That's
Well-
kind of cool.
Well, it's like Stoermer. Here, like, it's not Stormer. It's
Oh.
It's probably like Stamer or something.
maybe. But okay, because I didn't know if Zendaya was like a nickname, like what's Madonna's name?
Or like a stage name or something?
Or stage
like how
name.
Bono's name is Bono.
Or
Just Sting.
or Prince or Sting. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I know Sting's name. It's Gordon Sumner. But I only know that because I'm a huge police
Gordon
fan.
Sumner is a fucking awesome name.
Gordon?
Gordon's not a bad name.
That's a bad name.
It's not that bad.
It's in the neighborhood of
Okay,
Tanner.
His
It's like down the street from. I'm sorry if there's anyone named Tanner or Gordon, and you cannot laugh at my name. Stone's a funny name, but I'm sorry, dude. Gordon. When was the last time you met a tough guy named Gordon?
I don't know. See, there was this dude. He was from an island. You know, he was a fairly big guy. About
Stop.
20 feet long.
Stop.
Painted himself blue.
What is happening?
He pulled really long trains. Ringo Starr did the voice for him.
He's doing another he's making a Thomas the Tank Engine reference.
Oh.
I knew when you said island, I knew exactly what you were talking about. You little bastard.
Little bastard.
I was like, no, stop, no. Wait.
My younger sibling, who grew up fucking loving Thomas the Train, is gonna love this episode.
Thomas the Train.
Hey, I ain't insulting Thomas the Train, but if you're above the age of 8 and you're like waiting for the next episode, calm down.
No, what you mean to say? If you're a Tom Holland fan, if you're British, get off this podcast.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, why do you hate Tom Holland again?
Because he's British. I don't need another reason.
Well, that reason is alone. People hear that and they go like, "Got it." Unfollowed. How many? You know what? I'm not gonna say that.
All right.
I'll say it to. If you want, can we stop recording? I'll say it to Brock.
It'll be very.
Oh, okay. Never
tedious
mind.
To do that.
Never mind, Brock. I got something to tell you after the podcast. I mean,
Okay.
I can tell you in front of Alex. It's kind of funny, but I don't want to do it on the podcast.
I mean, I could always just censor it out. Just I gotta write down the fucking timestamp.
I don't trust you. Although this doesn't benefit you, so I think you absolutely would edit it out. But anyways, I'll keep the viewers or the listeners on edge. Anyways, let's talk Titanic. I was told.
Hell yeah.
I was told that there is a conspiracy out there that J.P. Morgan sunk the Titanic or had it or planned it or something like that. And I gotta say, what a
it's a
load of
little
bull.
more complicated than that, but yes, let's hear your take on it first.
Here's my take. It's not true. Because
Okay.
my question is, I've heard a couple of them. I heard that there's that one, J.P. Morgan, but then I also heard the insurance scam one. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I can believe the insurance scam before the other one, But I think it's ironic because I was just watching a video about it. Did you watch the BuzzFeed Unsolved or the BuzzFeed video about it?
I've been up on this theory since it was like discussed again when it was sort of brought up in the years after the Titanic movie came out in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my relatives was talking to me about it, and she was just like, they sunk her, eh? You know that she foundered in the depths of the ocean because of the acts of a greedy man who prized profit over the lives of those souls lost at the bottom of the sea. And I was like, okay. And so I started reading books about it in school and stuff, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. That some of those things don't seem to add up very much. Some of those things do seem to be unfortunate coincidences, which I'll talk about in a bit, but that's how I initially found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was something that a relative of mine told me about, and I'll admit that I have an inherent bias in that regard, that if someone I know that I'm related to tells me that they believe something, I tend to start from that point and work backwards. That doesn't mean I believe everything my relatives have told me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily believe that the government is plotting to kill us all with a vampiric space gestalt in outer orbit that's forming a satellite. I don't believe that there is secretly a cabal of people in the country of India that are going to awaken like the Brahmin gods to completely destroy us and make the world anew. I believe that our good pals in India, all of our good friends from India, are probably doing their best to get by just like the rest of us, have more immediate concerns than, resetting the world in some Shin Megami Tensei style event. They were more worried about things like Jim Browning.
I've never heard of any of these.
And his name
That's
is
okay.
Abdul. Have you ever... Real quick before we go back to Titanic, have you ever seen one of those like tech scamming videos where it's like a guy and he answers the phone and it's like, "Sir, your computer has a virus and we need to go onto your computer to get rid of the virus," and obviously it's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
But like what the person does is they're trolling the fucking scammer so that they waste time and they're not scamming somebody who would actually fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a whole community of people, and there's one guy who's British or Irish or whatever, and his name's Jim Browning.
Okay.
And he sounds like this. He's like, "I did a backwards connection to the scammer's PC and found out his name is Abdul, and he's based in a call center in Kolkata." And it's like, he's a cool guy, but his voice is just like very memeable.
Very monotone.
It's very memeable, and like, I don't know, it's just... Yeah, it's basically... it's just funny.
Alex and myself have had many hours of enjoyment just from doing impressions of Jim Browning in imaginary scenarios. Like, what if Jim Browning found himself, trying to stop a tech scammer, and that tech scammer was like some anime villain or something?
Better yet, what if he was just trying to order number 2 in the McDonald's drive-thru line?
I would like a double-double with cheese.
Double. Is that what a number 2 is?
Animal fries.
They have animal fries at McDonald's?
No, I got In-N-Out mixed up with it.
Thanks
I don't know why.
The spit on my...
Hey!
I appreciate it. Alright, well, once again, the JP Morgan theory is a little thin, only because... What is this?
I'm getting antsy. I want to say one thing before you continue.
Is what?
There was a man who tried to sink the Titanic, and his name is JP Morgan.
Well, again, what was the plan? Did he slip Edward Smith a 50 and say, "Here, if you see an iceberg, just wait 30 seconds and then try to, avoid it." And he wasn't even... Well, I guess he would tell the captain, and then the captain would tell everybody else, but... I don't know. I did discover this. The binoculars were missing, so the guys in the crow's nest couldn't see out too far.
There was only one pair of binoculars?
1 or 2. I don't know. But also people say even if they had binoculars, they couldn't have seen it that much ahead of time. Maybe like a tiny bit sooner, but I don't know. But you also hear too, if they ran right into the iceberg rather than try to, avoid it, they could have stayed afloat, a little longer. Who knows?
Yeah, because they would have
man.
crumpled the front of the hull, but it wouldn't have necessarily made a hole, and it wouldn't have been necessarily on the waterline the same way as the ruptures that they created going along the side. Yep, I've heard that stuff too. So the first thing I want to say about this is that in terms of what I believe, the insurance fraud theory and the JP Morgan theory line up, but they line up for a couple of different reasons. And it's that the two of them are connected. So one of the first major factors to keep in mind with all this stuff is we were talking about Smith. And Smith is, in fact, the captain of both the Titanic and its predecessor, the Olympic, and several other ships that White Star Line, the owner of both of those vessels, had going at the time. And if you'll pardon me here, I'm just grabbing this whole thing I keep that's like a conspiracy manual about Titanic stuff. So one of the things that's interesting to me is the fact that Smith is sort of this character who's got a bit of a debated history within the space of naval sort of the annals of naval history. And one of the things that comes up a lot with Smith is they talk about the fact that in some people's estimations, he was like this really respected, well-regarded captain. And I don't want to dispute that because it seems like he had many years of dedicated and well-performed service to the company and his passengers. But what also comes up a lot is that towards his later years, people say he kind of got like a bit like less attentive and more likely to, make less rational judgment calls. Things are a bit more showboaty, if you'll forgive the pun. And the thing that seems to line up there is around the time that he was assigned to Olympic, which was the first ship of Titanic size class, the very first day it was being deployed, there was an accident that he was involved in the harbor where it was broadside and rammed into by a military vehicle, the HMS Hawk, which they should have given way to. Like in terms of the harbor etiquette and stuff there, one, they shouldn't have been going fast enough inside the area that they were, that they couldn't have slowed down and stopped. And two, the HMS Hawk would have had the right of way because it was a military vessel during this time, which would have meant that it would have had the priority and go ahead over other vessels in the harbor just by merit of being a naval vessel. What becomes interesting when you look at the way that that happened is that the impact of the HMS Hawk on the side of the Olympic lines up directly with the same spot that the Titanic would have struck the iceberg. Not necessarily the exact same placement in some people's estimation, but along the same side. So all the damage to the superstructure and the interior parts of the ship, as well as parts of the paneling, riveting, and other stuff there would have been caused by that. As well, a notable thing is that that accident actually damaged and dislodged a couple of the propellers from the Olympic, meaning that they needed to be replaced with parts that were allocated for Titanic. So initially, they didn't intend on having a bunch of spare parts of all these things, but because the Titanic was still being manufactured at the time that the Olympic was being tested out and making its first voyages in the harbor, they could pull parts from it and delay Titanic's launch in order to repair Olympic. However, this had trickle-down costs, meaning that the Titanic was delayed and set back, so there were losses created by the delay in its construction and the delay it would take in repairing Olympic. So that's the first step there. That's the first piece of evidence that we have for those things, is Smith is behind the wheel of a previous vessel, creates a huge liability thing that's with the British military in the harbor, and you know for a fact that like they are not going to give favor to a private company against the British Navy. It's just not going to happen. So the judgment comes down in favor of the Navy, and on White Star, they're given like a strike for their misconduct in effect there. And Captain Smith is kind of in the doghouse for a while. They're annoyed at him at White Star for what he did. And they also have a strike on the side of an Olympic-class vessel, on the side that Titanic would be struck by the iceberg on the night that it went down. So our first two pieces of evidence right there. So initial thoughts on that? Anything that you've heard in relation to those or think about that?
Kind of coincidences, but not really. Almost circumstantial. Like, it's just not nearly enough to take it to court. It's not enough to really change the public's, perception of anything. But I don't know if it was this video or something else, but I read about some insurance scam. I could have sworn it was the Titanic, where if they actually did it, they would have actually lost money, then they would have gained it. Let's say they wanted $5 million. If they went through the scam, they would have only got $3 million back. So they're actually like losing money if they did it. But again, I don't remember if this was with the Titanic or something else. But I mean, again,
that would have been the Mary Celeste. I think the Mary Celeste is one that's a very famous insurance scam with naval vessels.
I read about that one too. But even then, they rewarded the guys 1/5 of the whatever the settlement was. They gave them 1/5 of it. So even then, it's like, oh, congrats, guys! You didn't even get 1/4 of the settlement. Good job. But again, the Mary Celeste was so long ago. I just don't think, I think there are better. Let's say I think there are just better scams and more realistic scams you could do than something like this. And
yeah, instead JP Morgan's out on the street and he's like, the shell game. Which shell will the ball be under?
Morgan's paying off the iceberg. Like he sailed out there and slipped at 100 and just said, "All right."
Yeah, he was in a little paddle boat. He was like, "Hey, dude, in a few days."
But that's the funny part too, is because people cancel trips all the time. Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on one of the planes that flew into one of the towers of 9/11. It didn't happen. So all the people getting off the week of or the day before, well, okay, I guess that's one thing. But again, then what was the plan? Did he really tell them?
Well, here's the thing. There's a couple of factors that I can bring up now if we're going to talk about that part of it, which is the people canceling their trips. So famously, JP Morgan and a bunch of other people did cancel their trips on that one there. A lot of the White Star executive staff, members of the board for White Star, and a bunch of other people involved. However, the common counterclaim to a lot of this stuff is that a lot of important people from White Star were in fact on the vessel for its maiden voyage. So notably, the engineer behind actually designing the Titanic, who, there's the famous scene of him stopping the clock in the Titanic movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. And I don't want to badmouth that guy. I don't think that he was someone who was, involved in any sorts of schemery or things going on there. I think that an engineer would have a lot more respect and I would say ethics when it comes to this stuff, because just so much of designing a vessel or a building or anything that you've got to engineer at that level comes with a real sense of like how you can preserve and keep people safe. Usually it's the corner cutting and stuff during the construction period and things like that where things get shifty. And so notably, the people that are on board the Titanic include foremen and members of the crew that assembled it, that were wealthy enough to go on the voyage or were given tickets as part of the gig. There's the head engineer, and then there's all of the people that serve on the vessel as the crew, including Smith, who's the captain who's still in the doghouse at this point, but is, for whatever reason, put back in charge of a White Star vessel. And the theory is that a big part of it was that White Star was kind of over a barrel with him because he had what was effectively the equivalent of being a tenured professor in captaincies. That he'd been captaining vessels for so long for White Star and just in general for his career, he was seen as pretty distinguished. And the UK has this thing called the First Sea Lord. The First Sea Lord is essentially someone who is designated to be put in charge of military naval operations and stuff like that. And so there's a fairly long history of altercations and misconduct and poor planning and stuff that's come from different sea lords who've been put in charge of these things. There's a whole submarine incident that happened with a bunch of submarines that went awry with one of them. But notably, one of the things that you can look at and sort of point to is that Smith had a distinguished history as a Navyman. Like, he worked for the Navy in the UK, and he was just generally well liked by a lot of the people in that sort of echelon of society. So getting rid of Smith would have not only been pretty hard, it would have also had a lot of backlash for White Star. Like, there would have been stuff in the press. Smith could have, gone to different people in government and got grants and funding pulled for them and stuff like that, because part of the whole thing here was that there was a degree of subsidies that different projects like these received that was based on the fact that they were seen as sort of a necessity for the commerce and the industry within the countries they were based in, because otherwise they lose that traffic and that cargo shipping and all that sort of stuff that those vessels would carry to vessels from other countries, whether that's the United States or France or other major players in that line, including Germany. Germany had a bunch of liners which, if I remember correctly, they were like mostly landlocked at this time, so they had to operate out of other countries' ports, though. So it's like this whole complex interpolitical scene, but I digress. Essentially, where it was at was that Morgan and his sort of inner circle of people canceled their tickets to being on that vessel. But another very important group of people were, in fact, on that vessel. And many of those were people that were looking to invest in and regulate part of the bank system in the United States. And so I forget exactly how the chips fell in that one and who was on which particular side of the debate there. But suffice to say, JP Morgan was in opposition to these other individuals who were opposed to him there. I mean, you can probably tell how this story goes because there is a bank called JP Morgan that's still around, and there are not banks named after these people. And what ended up happening was JP Morgan ended up being absent from that vessel, and all the people that he needed to pull strings and work with to get his version of events to come through off of that vessel, and they were safely elsewhere at the time of its departure, whereas everybody who was his political rivals in that sphere that were up against him for that stuff and were lobbying for the opposite of what he wanted were all on the Titanic, and all of them managed to go down with the ship, which is suspicious when you consider that some of them would have been in a position where they could have been able to get off the vessel, either the same way as some guys pushing the front saying, hey, I'm really important, you need to let me off the vessel here, society needs me, I must go, my home planet needs me. Or in the case of the fact that some of them, if I remember correctly, were also executors for their husbands on there. So if the wives had gotten off of the boat, they would have been able to make calls in their spouse's name based on the way the wills were written and stuff. But they also went down with the ship. So just some very interesting things there where it seemed a little convenient that not only would the people who were not supposed to be getting off that vessel in this conspiracy theory surviving there, but also that their wives, who would have been at the top level of the cabins, first to the lifeboats, first bunch of women and children to be in line to get off there, somehow weren't getting off of that boat, you know? And so it's a little crazy to hear that and hear those two things and really think, yeah, there is something that does seem a little iffy about that, you know? Like, it's either it's the world's greatest coincidence that all that stuff occurred, and I'm not saying it couldn't be. Like, at the end of the day, all this stuff is a theory, and I hold no idea so sacred that it's beyond the point of questioning. But at the same time, there comes a point where, in the same way as with recent people who are in their prison cells and things happen to them when the security cameras mysteriously stop working and that kind of thing, you gotta ask yourself a little bit,
well, the thing
is that maybe a little too convenient?
The thing in the prison cell doesn't mean everything, is like that. But my only thing is, what was the plan? JP Morgan says, hey, don't get on the ship. And people go, why? And he goes, don't worry about it, wink. I mean, what? Did he really tell the crew to drive into an iceberg and pay them off? They're dead anyways. So that's the only part that really just doesn't make any sense to me is how do you pay somebody off and they're dead, or how do you bank on I'm not getting on the ship and tell all the important people and then just get extremely lucky? It just seems like they didn't, you didn't want to go. Kind of like tonight, I was just chilling. I didn't really want to leave my house. I almost wanted to call and say, hey, I don't want to come over tonight. But no conspiracy. I just didn't want to go. So it could have been that. But that's really my only question is what was the plan? Because I'm not hearing any plan. It just sounds like it didn't get on and, the ship sunk. Hit the iceberg.
Oh boy, I get to talk about this part. Alex has heard me talk about this with great detail before because I ramble about this a lot. So, what happens here is another vessel enters the picture. A vessel called the Californian. And the thing that becomes important about the Californian is that it was a vessel that was from another line, but it was one that was making moves and contacts that made no sense for it to do that night. So, the Californian is going along a parallel line to the Titanic at the time that the Titanic goes down. It's going directly parallel along the same latitude as the Titanic is at that time. So when the Titanic is going out in the night, the Californian has gone up ahead and it actually stops. It actually waits in the water with all its passengers on it. at a specific point directly due north of where the Titanic runs into the iceberg. And in fact, it sits there and sits there and sits there and sits there as the distress calls and stuff are going out from the Titanic. And the flares are going up. The whole due process that the Titanic is supposed to follow in the event of hitting an iceberg is being followed there. And it's in visual range and established contact for the Californian. Because while there is fog that is obscuring the lower levels on the surface of the water and stuff that makes them unable to see the iceberg, there is not enough fog there for them to not see the level of the flares that would come up above and off the vessel there. So the Californian could see the flares coming off of there. The Titanic, looking up, could have seen flares coming off the other vessels. That's the way flares are designed, precisely for those occasions. And so what becomes important to note there is that the key thing that this theory hinges upon with all of that is that the Californian is making a move that makes no sense for it to do unless it's waiting for another vessel to go down and to move in and pick up the people that come off the vessel on lifeboats and assist. Because otherwise, it makes no sense to wait at those coordinates. What makes sense, however, is the fact that the Titanic's recorded communications back and forth with other vessels include the Californian extensively with members of the crew. And one of the last broadcasts that the Titanic makes is to the Californian that says, "Stop messing around, we've got things to do." And so, what becomes very interesting there is that you have this other vessel, you have the Titanic, and they are both lined up in parallel. And as the Titanic starts to go down, they believe, people that have this theory, that there was a specific flare color or a specific pattern that the Californian was waiting for, or for radio contact to come to them in order to make contact with the Californian and establish contact on the vessel here. What becomes interesting is that if we're following this theory where specific people were taken out and made to go down with the vessel, certain members of the crew were in on it, but the captain wasn't told so that he could go down with the vessel, and, you know, that would be seen as the practice of going down with the ship, seen as something that was in following with those traditions there, all those different stuff. Essentially, what would have happened is you get the scenario where all of the people that they don't want getting off that vessel don't get off the vessel. There's enough time when it hits the iceberg along its side. It's a slow leak. Things go down. The vessel descends. Everybody makes their way off in an orderly fashion, loads back and forth. The lifeboats can go back and forth to the Californian. And then by the end, everybody that needs to be off is on board the Californian. They make the rest of their journey towards New York, and they go from there. What becomes the problem and the hang-up for them in executing this plan is that there is simply just an error and a foul-up in how quickly the water gets into specific compartments of the ship and what starts to fail on it. So as things start to founder and fill with water, the use of the electrical systems and stuff like that starts to go down. When you look at what happens to the communications terminal in the Titanic, it was never turned back on again. It remains turned off after the log notes, which came off the vessel, that the log was, that the communications terminal was turned off, no more telegrams for the night, after the Californian is told, knock it off, stay off our comm line, we've got things to do, there are important things we're working on, clear the line. So, with the terminal turned off, presumably to keep anybody from sending out signals that would have gone out if there was anything suspicious going awry on board, and the passengers are directed to the surface, to the top of the deck of the vessel to let them off there. What happens is we have a scenario where the Californian doesn't respond to the communiques because there are no telegrams going out. It doesn't respond to the flares because they have no confirmation that these are in fact the flares they were looking for. They're the wrong color. And so everybody on board the Titanic makes their way onto what lifeboats that they can and stuff, but there is no vessel to ferry back and forth towards at this point. The lifeboats that go down are the lifeboats that go down, and the structural integrity of the ship starts to fail because more compartments than they planned for are starting to fill with water, which is not what they were expecting, because they were expecting one compartment ruptures, another compartment ruptures along the pre-damaged area, and it starts to sink. And so the big thing is that, and I want to clarify this if it wasn't clear earlier, the Olympic is swapped with the Titanic. They swap the nameplates, they use the damaged ship and launch it under Titanic's name as this new vessel. So the damage from the collision with the Hawk and all of that stuff there is still present, but it's been renovated and it's been moved around with all these parts from the Titanic so they can launch it that way. And they keep the vessel that continues to operate for years and exhibits none of the traits that you would expect from a damaged vessel all the way through the First World War, the Olympic, operating for that time under their name. So they have a brand new operational vessel, something of the size class, and it ends up paying dividends for them. What ends up happening is that one other factor in it going down that lends itself to the insurance fraud case is the amount of coal they have on board this sucker. That the vessel they launch as the Titanic, that's already damaged, has one of its smokestacks and several of its boilers going for days and days and days before it leaves the harbor during one of the biggest coal shortages in the UK and in Europe as a whole. So there is a shortage of coal there, and worldwide potentially at that point. I'd have to double check that. I don't know what the state of coal was in the Americas, but they're launching from Europe. And essentially it was just considered like a real tight commodity. So people weren't putting more coal than they needed into vessels at the time because they had to distribute them between their entire coal burning fleets. But what happens is Titanic is marked at the time that it's insured pre-launch with all of these furnishings, all of these expensive fixtures, all of these resources on board, and a ton of coal more than it needs. And it's burning some of it off well before it goes. Because if it weighs too much due to the amount of coal going on there, then it can't actually go at the seagoing speed it needs to be in the places it needs to be and be on track with its schedule. So they burn off the excess weight after the assessment by the insurance agency calculates the amount of tonnage that's on there for the coal. So the end result is they're going at the same rate of coal that they would have if they were using the same amount there, but they are burning coal consistently the entire time from the engines there because they can't take it out. If they take it out, people in the harbor will see it. They can, however, have one smokestack on the thing going because they can just say that they're testing the boilers before they go out there. It's stupid and it's a big waste of resources, but they could do it. Like if you're looking at it just as another harbor crew person or another person working on another vessel in the harbor, you would see that and think, that's a big waste of coal. How much coal are they planning to burn testing this engine? But it was something that'd be plausible. So, with all these factors in mind, Titanic is now insured for more than it would be worth. So when it gets down, when it goes to the bottom, it's not just the value of the vessel that's being calculated, it's the value of cargo and furnishings on board, as well as the tonnage of fuel. And so by the time it all goes to the bottom, there's all these factors in mind. There's the California that's supposed to pick people up. Everybody who's not supposed to be getting off doesn't get off because of members of the crew that are in on the conspiracy for it. And essentially, it was going to be a clean thing where JP Morgan washed his hands of it, walked away, and said, oh, geez, that was sad. Sure glad I called that board meeting with all these other important people so that they didn't leave on that ship that day, huh? Because he takes another ship from Belfast a couple days later to come to New York and to go to what's effectively the investigations and proceedings looking into what happened to the Titanic. He goes, well, I don't know. I sent the vessel out there. You can see the manifest here and all this stuff seems in order to me. I don't know what went wrong. Looks like they hit an iceberg because the captain, Smith, doesn't steer it. The helmsman does. And the helmsman never left the ship. Helmsman didn't make it off. That guy dropped dead. And like the few crewmen that did make it off were mostly low levels, mostly, naval officers and things like that who were serving as a temporary gig to get to New York as a means of passage. And they were like shamed for their entire lives. Many of them ended up taking their lives because they were seen as cowardly for leaving on the lifeboats with everybody else there. So the assumption was, based on seagoing etiquette, most of the people that were on the crew wouldn't have survived either way in a situation like that there. So there wouldn't be many people that would have known anything was awry to report back against it. So there's a bunch of different factors there. I don't want to bore anybody or take up too much more time on the podcast with this, but those are the details. Those are the facts.
What are the facts?
The stuff we just went over?
That JP Morgan had the Titanic sunk for insurance scam?
Oh, like the stuff leading to the theory. The stuff about the tonnage and the manifest and the different things that connect to it. None of it's confirmable, obviously, because the ship's at the bottom of the ocean and anybody who would have had any info on it is dead. But those are the material pieces of evidence that we have that lead to that line of thought, which are factual.
Would you say, you're saying the crew would go down so they wouldn't say anything? Well, what about the passengers?
Well, the passengers that left there wouldn't have seen anything for the most part because where these things needed to occur would have been specific quarters for people that didn't leave the ship. If they didn't leave their rooms, if they were murdered, they wouldn't have heard anything or seen anything of it because they could have done it in the night. They could have done it, well at all sorts of different points into the voyage and people wouldn't have seen them go missing. Smith would have been expected to go down with the ship because he was the captain, and anybody who was a important person that they didn't want to leave the vessel would have followed the same protocol. The thing they were expecting and banking upon was anybody who would have been a sailor or a seagoing man would have had the etiquette and the dignity to go down with the ship, like not along with the other people there. And so the people that made it off, the passengers, for the most part, aren't going to be people who know much about the sea or vessels beyond what a layman's perspective would be.
So, are you saying the ship at the bottom of the ocean's not the Titanic?
Yeah, it would be the Olympic, which has had its badges swapped with the Titanic. Because it's a vessel that was already damaged, so they could have written it off for the full price of a new vessel, which would be worth more, and then kept themselves a brand new working vessel under the name of the ship that was already damaged, since it was in the same harbor for repairs.
Well, and then I just have one question with that. So it's like, so they swap the nameplates and everything. So what happens to the original Titanic? Like, it's still being built.
It's
it's still being built. Like, are people really? This ship? Oh, that's not the Titanic. That's the other one. It's like, but the other one was already built. Why is this one being halfway built? It
was close enough to completion at the time that the accident happened, because they were built almost in parallel, that they were almost like functionally identical, minus a couple of details which could have been swaps at the point that they were in the harbor there. It wasn't a highly trafficked or witnessed area.
Okay.
There's photographs from the time that show them in the two side-by-side docking bays and stuff, where Olympic was brought back in beside Titanic before it was launched. So essentially they were at more or less the same point of completion, with the damage that needed to be fixed on Olympic, which was the name ship of the fleet. It was the first one that had to go out. And then when it comes back in, Titanic has had more resources devoted to it from the second team that was building Olympic. So it's getting put together faster. It was pretty close behind, but now it's at about the same point.
Okay.
So that part there is some weight to there. I'm not saying that it's like entirely like provable, but that's the evidence that we've got from photographs at the time, from Olympic's launch, Olympic being returned to dry dock to be worked on, and Titanic still being worked on beside it there at the time of the repairs.
Okay. Because I just thought that would be kind of weird. It's like, oh, we swapped the nameplates and everything. It's like, all right, this one's ready, and then what's the name of the other one? Oh, that's the Olympic. But wasn't the Olympic already finished? Wasn't it already finished being built? Hey, look, we're sending it out to sea. Just see you later.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that I believe required quite a bit of subterfuge in order to pull this off effectively. And I think that that's sort of the part that, one, is a bit more difficult to really pinpoint and lock down, because it's stuff we don't have material evidence. If it was intentionally obfuscated, then there's not going to be photographs and things that lend themselves too much to this. And secondly, it's also just a thing where enough time has passed. It's like in the same way as if you're trying to get evidence into the cause of a house fire when the house burns completely to the ground. There's just evidence and stuff there that would have been available pre-fire if you caught it early enough, where you could identify, okay, well, the fire starts most intensely here. This part of the structure has survived more. This part is more burnt. We can identify that the fire probably started from around here, even if the source isn't completely identifiable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole thing is, with the Titanic at the bottom, and for as long as it was, because it was years and years and years and years, decades, almost a century before it was found again, right? On the bottom of the seafloor. Like, there just wasn't material evidence to analyze for any of this stuff. And by the time they found it, damn thing was coming apart at the seams. And it's
there were
one of those cases
squids
where it's
living in
unfortunate, because if it really was a scam, there's a lot of innocent people that got fucked over by this whole process that didn't deserve to be.
Yeah. What?
I'm listening.
I think that's it.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I don't want to rattle on about it, because like, I've just kind of been one-man show talking about stuff here, and like, the podcast is about all of us talking.
Well, I mean, I did mention that you had a lot of information about it, so I mean, like, it's just like, I don't know. Once again, like, conspiracy theories are just like, it's a touchy subject, because it's like,
Oh, that's the thing, right?
Huh?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching the Titanic sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, This kind of reminds me of like the JFK thing, where it's like, you really think they could pull like the biggest plot of all time, the biggest like coup d'etat? It just sounds a little. It's just a lot.
You don't
It's too
understand,
much.
Stone.
What?
The man in the umbrella did it. He was there.
The Umbrella Man.
And then he got into the plane and asked for $50 million and then skydived out of the plane. That man was
You
D.B.
think D.B. Cooper was the Umbrella Man?
Yes.
Why isn't that a theory?
Can I just say, I think the thing that's interesting to me as a Canadian about the Kennedy assassination stuff is that, like, I know it's a very important historical moment and it's a very sensitive thing, but one of the funniest videos I've ever seen is the Clickhole video where they're joking about, like, oh yeah, these people were present for the Kennedy assassination. It's like, and I know everyone's poured over the evidence again and again and again, but I still have to ask, what about the gorilla with the sign? Why isn't anybody asking about him? And if they show this black and white photo of a gorilla that's been photoshopped into the crowd, it says, "Gorilla mad, wants kill president."
Have you ever... You know the Phoenix Suns mascot's a gorilla, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was imagining.
The Phoenix Sun, tired of not winning championship.
But what's funny is the Suns weren't even a team until 68.
Crap.
And this happened in 63.
Damn.
So that would just make it even better. Like, Suns need... rigged finals. Suns need a chance to win. You're like, what are the Suns? What is PHX Suns? What does that mean?
PHX, is that a type of disease?
Is that a type of disease?
Uh,
What is this?
Sounds like a disease you'd get from peaches. PHX? Eh.
PHX.
Great, now she's gonna listen to this and be like, baby man!
Who is?
This person that we both know.
Mm.
All she does is call us baby men and, and just assault our existence.
Ooh. Alright. I'm not gonna ask.
She's a good friend.
Why does she call you baby men?
It's funny.
Because I am short.
Because you're what?
Because I'm short.
It's okay, like, I call her grandma. I say that, like,
Grandma?
bingo night, because she's older than us. So I'm like, Grandma, bingo night is happening right now. You better tell the nurse to get you to the bingo hall. And she was like, it's a back and forth thing. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna,
If you're listening,
we're just gonna beat her up.
Peaches, you're welcome. Don't go to bed too late. You'll worry the grandkids.
Anyway.
And you haven't mentioned Matlock with her?
Matlock's on at 7.
Yeah. It's like, no, 4. They go to bed at 7.
That's true.
Yeah, old people wake up at like 4 in the morning, have lunch at like noon, eat dinner at 3, and then call it at like, 6. And Matlock starts around 4.
Well, that's when they have dessert. They have their lava cakes.
I'm just saying, you're missing a golden opportunity here, and you're not even mentioning Matlock.
I'll bring it up next time.
And I've said that to you, around you for at least a year or so.
I know you have. I know you
So
have.
I am disappointed in you.
You failed.
See,
me
I'm
for
more
the
of a
last
Columbo
time.
fan myself.
More of what?
More of a Columbo fan myself.
What about Heart to Heart?
Heart to Heart's okay. I think that, like, Ironsides is a pretty good classic. That's more of a legal drama thing than a detective thing, but...
Or Green Acres. Even I watched Green Acres.
Grandma, we gotta make it to the TV. Grey's Anatomy's on in 5 minutes.
The rerun of Casablanca starts. You know, the one with Humphrey Bogart.
I love The Sopranos.
Oh, The Sopranos is a good one. You ever seen The Sopranos?
When I was a little kid...
I have indeed.
When I was a little kid, I've never, like, fully watched an episode. But when I was a little kid, like a really little kid, like 2-3 years old, I have specific memories where everyone in my house... Because when I lived in New York, it was like my mom, my dad, my mom's mom, my mom's dad, and then my dad's mom. So both my grandmas and my grandpa. And whenever the new Sopranos episode came on, they would all get together in the library, which is where the TV was.
Okay.
And they'd watch it. And they weren't the type of parents to be like, all right, little Timmy, go to bed. You know,
They
like,
just let you watch it?
they just kind of like let me sit there. It's not that it traumatized me or anything. Like, that's not where I'm going with it. It's just that I remember sitting there and being bored out of my fucking mind because I was like, I want to play Mario on my GameCube. Why am I watching this stupid soap opera?
This
stupid drama.
Balding fat guy that like has a funny accent.
Tony Soprano.
What are we doing here? What do you remember?
He does waste management.
You were 2 or 3 and you remember that?
I remember a lot of things. I remember seeing... When I was a little kid, I have a vivid memory. This is probably my oldest memory.
Okay.
I was outside my house, and where I lived in New York, it was a big property. So there was a huge house. It was like on a cliffside, kind of. Mm-hmm. And then we had like a little mini parking lot, I guess, for lack of a better term. We had like a big piece of asphalt where you could park multiple cars. Mm-hmm. And we had a long, winding driveway. Mm-hmm. Like, quarter-mile long driveway that kind of went up the crest of this little hill, went down, and then like went down this huge hill to I think the north side of the property, or maybe the east side of the property. Point is, I was outside my front door, just like any other day. I was frolicking around like a little kid, because I would always run out and, like, not too far, but just run around.
Alex is known for his frolicking.
Yeah, my iconic frolicking.
Frolicking.
And my grandma, my dad's mom, was, like, picking up twigs because she, for lack of a better term, she was, like, the groundskeeper.
Okay.
It's not like she had to, but she would often go outside and, pick up branches, make sure everything was all nice and tidy. Mm-hmm. And
out in the meadow where Alex would frolic, as we know, ALM is short for Alex Loves Meadows.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Alex loathes mayonnaise. Anyway, I saw her, I waved, like, I'm like, "Hi, Grandma," and she waved back, and at the time, we had a big German Shepherd named Sasha, and he would run out in the middle of the woods and fucking chase deer and shit, and just do whatever.
Is this all part of the memory?
Yeah. So I remember, I, like, looked to my grandma, and I walked over the little crest of the hill, and I saw my dog chasing a deer. I saw Sasha chasing a deer down a hill. Like, and they were going like Mach 10. They were going fast. That deer did not want to get caught. I look away for 2 seconds back at my grandma, and I look towards where Sasha was, and I see this big black creature coming out of the woods. And it was probably a black bear.
I remember you told me.
Yeah, it was probably a black bear. But me being the dumb little kid that I was like, "It's a gorilla! There's a gorilla out in the woods!" And I freaked out, and I, like, tried to say something to my grandma, but I was too scared, so I just fucking ran back inside. And I think I told my parents immediately, like, "There's a gorilla outside!" And they went outside, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, kid?" That's my oldest memory.
You know what my oldest memory was?
What's that?
I was looking upstairs.
I mean,
Nice.
That's a memory. I was looking upstairs.
Can I just say though, Alex, I love the idea that in continuity with all of the stuff we've been discussing here, that gorilla went on to kill the president because no one believed you.
Better yet, he went back in time.
He took Russell's limoncello and he went back in time.
He went back in time with the Phoenix Suns mascot. Held up a sign.
He's like, "This is bullshit. Fuck this forest."
Maybe that's why they put it.
Phoenix.
Maybe that's why they put a team in Phoenix, because they went back and watched the Zapruder film one too many times, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? That sign gave me a really good idea." Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, and no, obviously as I grew up, I was like, "What a gorilla? Really? What? There was a break at the county zoo, and the fucking gorilla escaped. It was a black bear."
Well, I think it's funny. It's just like my first memory, and then like 20 minutes later, it's like, now here's the memory part, where that was almost like a short story in itself.
Kind of, yeah.
You should do it. Convert that into a story.
And and I'll do that part where it's a gorilla, and the gorilla goes back in time to assassinate JFK and becomes the mascot.
No.
Phoenix Suns.
To warn JFK.
Oh.
But he doesn't want to say you're going to get shot, so he tries to come up with like a code. So I'll distract him by putting up a basketball with flames on it, and he looks over and he's just like, "Oh, I wonder what that's about." But he like goes like this. He's like, "What is that?" And he like leans his head over, and the bullet goes by his head, and there you go.
Well, remember that the first bullet didn't go for the head. It went like it went through the guy's shoulder and like into his
watch shoulder.
No. It didn't
But
go.
he's sitting. No. Because his first shot went through his neck.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
but if he goes like
if he goes like
this-
that, it would go through his.
Yeah,
shoulder.
because again, if he, what is that? You know, he goes like that. It might go through.
Is
his
that
shoulder.
a damn gorilla?
Yeah, it might go through his shoulder. Then he might go, I got shot, and then duck to the ground. So he may have been shot in the shoulder or something like that.
All right.
But we'll never know.
My best-selling work, the gorilla.
Make it a comic.
a.
I'm telling you, dude, you got some potential with this limoncello. And that's what it should be called. You should call it limoncello. What, are you going to get sued?
No.
Exactly. You call it limoncello, the misadventures of Russell and Alex. Or
misadventures-
Alex and Russell.
And we're not even in that one. We're just
no, you could be in that one.
We'd be observing. We'd
better yet.
We'd be in the window with Lee Harvey Oswald.
No. You go like, we have to go to the grassy knoll just to make sure that there's nobody there. Then you go over there and you're like, oh, there's nobody here. But then Russell's like doing something.
Russell's on his phone and all of a sudden he hears behind him and he turns around. He's like, holy fuck, is that a gorilla?
No, knowing Russell, he would distract you. Then, it'd go off and you'd be like, wait, how many gunshots was that? Damn it, Russell, we missed it.
Damn it, Russell, pour me another shot. We're going back.
We needed to know if it was 3 or 6 shots. Thanks.
Jeez.
To every adventure.
Gorilla mad, kill the president.
The Gorilla Man. Gorilla Man saves president and then disappears.
The man in the pickle suit.
Pickle Rick. Oh, that'd be bad. What would be worse? Photoshopping the Phoenix Suns
I
mascot?
Pickle-rilla, Mr. President! I Pickle-rilla!
Oh, God. I'm just imagining Pickle Rick in the Zapruder film. Ugh. Disgusting.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. Anyways, let's look at what happened on this day. We got 2 events.
Okay.
We got Tool released their first EP, Opiate, back in 92, 29 years ago, or no, 30 years ago. And then Liquid Tension Experiment released their first album, Liquid Tension Experiment, 24 years ago in 98. And as we know, that has Chris and Kevin's Excellent Adventure on it. So,
Oh, good pick.
which, by the way, when are we going to do the next go-to entry?
Whenever you wanna.
Mm.
You haven't given me a day yet. I'm serious, you haven't.
Well, this week I've been working every day, so hopefully next week. Actually, I don't know if that'll even work. Well, maybe we can go. Would you rather go early in the day or in the mid part of the day?
Probably mid.
Mid. Well, define mid.
Like 12 to 5.
Okay.
Like 1 to 6.
1 to 6. Maybe. How about like if I get off at 4, I can get you. We can go over there, and get there at the very end of the day when the sun starts to go down. Then when the sun starts to go down, then we'll come back.
All right.
That could work. Or if I have the whole day off, we'll go earlier.
And we'll live stream it in case we go missing in the stairway to heaven.
In Miami.
The stairway to...
It's a population of probably like 60 people.
Exactly.
It's a pretty
Scrap
easy case to
found dead in
solve.
Miami.
And all the houses there are, driving through some of those neighborhoods, you have to wonder. It's like, do they have cable? Or are they streaming in there?
Do you have Apple TV? Alexa?
Apple TV. MLB just signed a deal with Apple TV. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't even know what Apple TV was until I heard about it.
Does that mean that they're not going to have games on cable?
Yeah, so it's like every Friday they're going to pick 2 games and they're going to show it on Apple, but you have to watch those games on Apple. So they'll pick Diamondbacks and Padres, and I can't watch it here in Arizona or in San Diego. You have to have Apple TV, which means you have to pay $10 for it or whatever it is. It's a little lame, but you want to hear something amazing? You know how much Amazon gave the NFL to show Thursday Night Football on Amazon?
How much?
$1 billion.
Jesus.
You know how much MLB signed the Apple TV deal for?
$36.
$55 million. Now, what's $55 million compared to $1 billion?
That's like nothing.
Exactly. That should show you where MLB and NFL is.
Well, we didn't even know if we were going to get games until like today.
That was the weird part. 2 days ago, they made this announcement. MLB signed this deal with Apple TV, and we're like, there might not even be any baseball this year. This is not the time to announce, hey, we just signed this deal. You can watch games on here. You guys got a deal? No. What are you telling me this for? Make this announcement when you make the deal. But luckily for them, they made it 2 days later. It's just still very odd.
Maybe they wanted to make people speculate. Maybe they wanted to get people to be like, why did they make this deal? Are they coming back?
I think. Boy, oh boy, I really can't believe they actually made a deal.
I a little part of me was holding out that they wouldn't have baseball this year.
Why?
I don't know, because it's funny.
What would you have to gain for that?
Literally nothing.
If you think that's gonna stop me and Russell from even mentioning the word, you're dead wrong. In fact, that'll make it even worse, because then we're gonna go, we miss it, we miss MLB. And then you'd go, fuck, they're still talking about it. I still have a theory. If me and Russell both decided we hate sports, we're never gonna talk about it again, you and Zane would be doing backflips. You'd go out inside the hall and just be like high-fiving and be like, yes, they're done! Celebrate good times! And the fact that you're not disagreeing with
It's
me...
like, oh, finally, we can talk about Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
I do think that's funny. I don't care about sports! Anyways, this video game I was playing the other day. I don't care! I don't care! What are you talking to me about this for? When I'm curious about a game, I'll let you know. And that goes for you, too.
Robots for the GameCube?
Is that a game? On GameCube?
Yeah.
Oh, do you own that?
I own that game for the original Xbox.
Oh, so I couldn't play it.
It's like basically the same game. No, remember? I gave you the game, and you were like, I can't wait to play it, and then you couldn't play it, and then it was like...
Roblox or robots?
Not Roblox, robots.
Oh, okay, I thought you said Roblox.
No, Roblox... I don't fuck with Roblox.
Roblox is for
It's-
my students, who are all very nice young adults and
My students?
formative individuals making their way in the world, and also some adults who maybe should not be on that site and around those young individuals
Roblox?
because they pose a danger to them.
Oh, no. Roblox is basically poor man's Minecraft.
I was gonna say, this kind of looks like Sims and Minecraft.
It kind of is.
Interesting.
Like, back in the day, it was very bare bones. Like, if you go back, if you, like, use the Wayback Machine
Jeez.
and you go on YouTube, like, 2005, you'll find so many fucking Roblox videos. It's unreal. And every
Well, the
single...
thing was,
Oh, God.
the Roblox videos were okay. Like Roblox as a thing was okay when it first started because it was so bare bones. It was kind of endearing. You know what I mean? Like it was more of a sandbox thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like it kind of feels like everything I see from there. It's just like the cult in Roblox, child labor in Roblox, and just like yeah. I liked when there was the Transformer game where you could be a Transformer and you drive the truck.
I tried to play Roblox when I was like a little kid. I couldn't even figure out how to fucking jump, so I just quit immediately, like 5 minutes in. I was like, fuck this sucks.
That sounds like something I would do.
And that was before Minecraft, obviously, so it's like...
Jeez, I made a grave mistake today. When you heard it was? I, in my fantasy league, forgot to set my lines. Which is weird because I could have sworn I set my lines earlier in the week, but for whatever reason it didn't save. So rather than...
So is it just default or do you miss those rounds?
Well, like, you would think it's default, but either way, it's not default. And at the beginning of the week, I've made my lines. And then 2 days later, I'll check and it's all gone. All my players are on the bench. I forgot to set my lines today, so I missed out on 48 points.
Jesus.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. Because it's not like, oh, I put in the wrong players. No, there were guys not playing on my starting lineup. So I get nothing. And the guys on the bench got a lot of points. And I'm playing Morgan this week. So there's a little more incentive to, like, I want to, like, you know, win. Now, I beat her 2 other times. So this is the 3rd and last time I'll play her. But, boy, wouldn't it be poetic justice? Oh, I won the first 2 games, so it didn't mean anything. But in the last part of the season,
and you know what? I didn't pick my lines in the first thing, and then I came back.
Yeah, I could always come back, but I gotta say, it's not good. I mean, I'm at like 299. She's at 363. It's doable, but it's not looking good. It's not what you want, to quote
We
Joe
get
Girardi.
a return of the max scenario for our friend Stone. I'm praying on it.
God, I just... But either way, the napkins are... what seat am I actually? I'm 11-8. The Nebraska Napkins have a winning record. That's not the app I want. It's this one. So far, I have the 4 seed. I'm actually tied with another guy, but he has more points than me, so that's the tiebreaker. So, I think if the season were to end, I'd play the 5th seed. So, we'll see. I got $10 riding on this. That was the entry. I mean, I don't know. You know how funny it would be if you entered baseball only because you know probably the most players and just did it and won?
I mean, that'd be an incredible stroke of luck considering I know nothing.
Well, you know the names, but that's it.
That is it.
Yeah, if I were to say, hey, Alex, can you get me a couple third basemen? You'd go,
Ketel Marte, Ketel Marte, Ketel Marte, Ketel Marte.
Exactly. You know, Eddie messaged me asking me who Ketel Marte was.
Oh.
Well, I said, is Russell asking you? And he goes, no, I heard Alex singing it. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Then he asked me how many rings the Diamondbacks have, and I said 1.
How many rings?
Yeah, and in all caps he goes 1.
Oh, speaking of rings, Brock, have you ever played Liar's Dice before?
Yeah.
It's fun, right?
We've been playing it recently, and I've lost every single game.
You're Liar's Dice loser.
I'm so bad at Liar's Dice, dude. Like, the problem with the game is that, so when we first started playing it was me, Stone, and Russell, and Russell figured out very early on that he can just up the ante to like 4 6s. Like I'll start the round and go like 2 3s, and immediately he'll go to like 6 6s.
Well, wait, do the people know what Liar's Dice is, just in case they don't know?
For those who don't know what Liar's Dice is, essentially you get dice in a cup, you roll them, you check what numbers you have, and then you start bidding. And what bidding is you say a number. You're like, oh, 2 of my dice have 3s on them, so I would say 2 3s. And then the next person could say 3 3s. And then the person after that could say 1 4. And that keeps going up until someone calls bullshit. But see, here's the thing. You don't have to call the numbers on the dice if you don't have them. You can say numbers you don't have, and that's the whole point. Mm-hmm. You have to get away with lying.
But you also are saying, between 3 people and 15 dice blocks, there are at least 4 3s. So you could have no 3s.
But if someone calls the bullshit and they lift it up and there's 4 3s on the board that other people have, then you're safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we were playing that, and I immediately Russell just goes 6 6s, and Stone would go 7 6s, and I'd be trapped because either I have to up the bluff, and my chances of that happening are very low, like that there's actually 6 6s, and Russell immediately calls bullshit and I lose a dice, or I say bullshit and there is that many 6s and I lose anyway. Like, it's... And he found that strategy out very quickly and used that to fucking destroy me every game.
Dude, it's pretty funny because not only... Sometimes you'll just make really bad calls. Like when there were legit 4 total dice blocks. He had 2...
There were 5 dice.
No, you had 1 and I had 3. This was like elimination game. There were 4 dice blocks. He had 1 and I had 3. And he made... You said 4 5s. So you really thought all 4 dice blocks, only 4, all of them had 5. And of course, there was like no 5s. That's like the only time I've ever like got on you. Like, dude, what are you doing? Go up to 2 6s. That's better than 4 5s when there are 4 dice blocks.
But that's the thing. That could have happened.
Well, it didn't, and you lost. And that was your last... The last dice is not the time to experiment and go, I'm going big, baby.
I'm going big, baby.
Well, I guess you could say I'm going to lose anyway, so go for it. But either way, yeah. Also, I was getting really frustrated with Russell because he kept doing the 3 6s when Eddie and Ben didn't know the game. So they didn't understand that Ben had to go 4 6s. Because Ben kept going to 3 3s or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just, like, wring Russell's neck and go, you stop doing the meme. It's not ready yet. And look what happened. 20 minutes later, Eddie got it, and then Ben got it. So we could have got there a lot sooner if Russell wasn't being that guy and saying 3 6s immediately. Because literally, the opening bid, I love doing my impression of Russell playing Liar's Dice. Which is, Russell, the game literally just started. Why don't you just, like, ease into this one? Got it. 4 6s. And then the second person goes, great. Do I go 5 6s? Do I say liar? I'll be honest. In the beginning of the game, just say 5 6s.
Well, in the beginning of the game, the chances of that happening are pretty good.
But you didn't do that, because Russell would say 6 6s, and you got 2 dice blocks, and everyone's lost one. You're like, 7 6s. And then you're like, just call liar. I honestly think you should call liar on Russell 9 out of 10 times.
You know what? I will employ that strategy next time.
And then when you win the championship, you got to give me credit.
Congratulations to Alex Korn and Stone Cockler.
Well, it's getting pretty late. Oh, it's 9:30.
It is getting late.
I'm going to go back home and listen to my podcast. Listen to my New York guy, The Michael K. Show. They're going to talk about baseball being back.
Why?
I'm so sad we can't do drops.
We could. It's just takes a while.
Well, not like in real time. We'd have to like go back and like edit it for like 18 hours.
We need to hire a studio.
We need to hire a producer who would like sit in the corner with like a fucking whatchamacallit.
Brock, do you know a guy?
I know a couple of audio engineer people, but they live here.
Shit.
That's inconvenient.
Well, that definitely puts a wrench in the gears.
By the way, what are we doing tomorrow?
Well, Dion's coming over. We're gonna play Elden Ring for a while.
Damn.
And then
Is he hanging out with all of us tomorrow?
Yeah.
Were y'all gonna be here?
That's the thing. I'm debating whether or not that's a good idea because that's a lot of people.
Why don't we go to like a park and
It's
meet
gonna
up?
be like very loud.
Well,
I'm down to go to a park.
well, I'm off at 7:30 anyway, so I'll meet up probably at the dinner portion.
We'll go to Zane's house and be like, oh, we gotta be quiet.
You tell us to be quiet all the time when we're over here. That's off limits. Can we just end it right there? Just end it.
No.
End it
no,
right there.
No.
You want to end it on that note?
No.
Fine. You want to end it on a literal fart? Then go for it.
I don't want to do that.
You're the one that farted.
So what?
What is that? You couldn't even like hold it in.
Yeah, remember when Zane every 5 minutes was like, "Hey Stone, you want to hear something really
I know,
interesting?"
and I didn't feel bad. I've been farting all day. Well, what is this? What are you aiming? When you stand up and squat and aim and then fart and then go, "Oh, I'm farting. I feel so bad." I don't care. I don't care. You're like aiming. The second you start aiming with something, the sympathy's gone.
We are functioning adults.
I'm a functioning adult. You know why? Because I'm not going like this. Wait, why do you want to stop?
Can I just say, I find it really funny because when you guys were like, yeah, we should all meet at the park, all I could picture was like some whimsical, like, mid-2000s TV show, set in the middle United States, where it's a bunch of kids with jazz haircuts and neon clothes, and like, they show up and they got like a cool handshake and stuff. It's like, hey Manny, hey Luis, hey Jerry, hey Tommy, you ready to do some skateboarding and roller skating in a montage that'll last for the first 2 minutes of this episode before we introduce the A plot of this sitcom?
You ready to trade Mighty Beans? And then you hear, I don't want to grow up, grow up. That stupid pop punk from the early 2000s.
Oh my god.
I mean, it might be stupid, but it's actually pretty good.
And Ben's running with the skateboard, but he never actually does a trick. He just keeps running with it.
See, and if that show had come out even like a couple years later, like into the mid 2000s, early 2010s, the song that played in the background would be that fucking stupid "No, you're not alone. Gonna make this place your home." It was in every fucking thing in commercial for like 8 years.
Oh my god! And then like 2005, what was it? In the End by Limp Bizkit.
No, by Linkin Park.
Oh right,
Linkin
yeah,
Park,
Linkin
yeah.
Park. Yeah. Yeah, see
Limp
that one.
Bizkit is not really a synthesizer-friendly kind of band, as I can proudly admit as a Bizkit fan.
I got it mixed up.
Just one of those days.
I listened to both of them though. You weren't that far off.
Boy, I gotta tell you, I have a bunch of little ideas for a video I want to make, and they're pretty stupid.
I'm down.
They're pretty stupid.
I'm down.
I think I told you the title, right?
What the drive-through lines scattered across these great lands?
No, that's a bank. That's not even the right title, but that's bank heist.
What's the title? I remember you told me. I'm sorry.
The problem with intros.
That's right. The problem with... And the thumbnail is you just with your arms folded.
Just like, it's 48 minutes long. Hey, look, I'm okay with video essays, but do they all have to
I'd
be
love
like
to do a
40
drama
plus
video
minutes?
essay about someone who doesn't fucking exist. It's like, exposed. My companion, Quandale Dingle.
Acquiano.
Yeah, the problem with Acquiano, he's ruining MLB and NHL. And now he's recently gotten to MLB, or no, NBA.
Well, here's the thing.
WNBA.
I don't care about video lengths when it comes to some topics. As you know, I watched a 30-minute video on the Padres collapse. Mm-hmm. Well, also that's just hilarious. So there's that aspect of it too. But boy, there was like one video. It's like Star Wars: How to Kill a Franchise. And it's an hour and 43 minutes.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, like the closer look or something.
It's, I don't know. I think in this day and age, everybody thinks that their opinions matter.
Yeah, and everyone's got a conspiracy theory
and
that they want to make a YouTube video on.
Well, look, I think
me.
I think these people forgot, and I'm not gonna uninclude myself because there's a million fucking Pikmin video essays out there.
Are there?
There really are.
Okay, I've never heard of Pikmin until you've said it.
I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm not the first one to do it. I'm not gonna be the last, and I know I'm not original.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, my opinion's the only one that matters, because it's the fucking internet. No one's opinion matters.
Well, if you play it off right, why not? If you're so over the top, people know you're joking. That's a great way to do it.
That's kind of what I wanted to go for. Like, I've written like scripts halfway for like a bunch of different videos. Like there's the one that I was gonna do on Terraria versus Minecraft, and I'm such a sarcastic asshole throughout the entire fucking thing. It's like, this guy's fucking around. Like, there's no way that this is like
it's a hard strike.
Completely serious.
It's a hard chord to strike because a lot of people are just gonna go, this guy's click. This guy's kind of a dick.
Wow, he called me fat. Click. Waddles off of computer desk and goes upstairs to microwave tendies.
Microwave?
Microwave.
No, I would say I never heard the name Pikmin before until you.
You?
Like, never heard. Yeah, Pikmin.
I mean, fair enough.
That's okay.
But when you say like there are millions, I mean, I've never even heard of it.
Well, not millions, but there's a lot of them.
Like, I've heard of Sonic, Mario, Donkey Kong, Peach, and all that stuff. And what else is there? I've even heard of Silent Hill, mainly because of the movie. Although I did know the video game.
Everyone's played Scorplingo Quest.
What?
Sporklingo Quest. You've never heard of Sporklingo
Yeah,
Quest?
Scorplingo Quest.
No, I haven't. What is that? Is that Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights on the PS2?
Yeah.
When did you get that?
Plingo Schmecks
Really?
is this really important game in the development of 3D platformers. It was originally released for the PlayStation, the initial PlayStation during its initial release with Sony, but it got enough traction that Nintendo ended up picking it up and releasing it in a HD sort of update on the GameCube. HD by those standards at the time, of course. And then PlayStation 2 had a release for it as well. They were talking about doing like a virtual console release for it on the Switch, but I think that fell through. The rights are really contested between Square Enix and Nintendo right now with all those things, as you know.
Well, I definitely think, Alex, you should keep doing you're still going to do the video game reviews, right?
Oh, I'm going to do the Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights one, eventually.
Well, the key word is eventually. I don't think you're going to touch that for a year.
I
think 9 months from now, so December, you're going to go, well, I think it's time
to get cracking.
Yeah, and then 3 months later, you're going to go, all right, I finally started writing the script. And then another 3 months later, you're going to go like, okay, I got about the first act done. And then I'm going to I'll probably give you shit for it. And then a week later, you'll be like, okay, I got the video done. I'm going to go, wow, it took you 14 months to do it. And you're like, well, if I really put my mind to it.
If I really put my mind to it, I could have done it in 14 minutes.
No, but what other video? I'm looking at your games right now, but what other games would you want to do after this one?
Well, after Scooby-Doo, I want to do Metroid.
Okay.
The 5 Metroid games. I was gonna do one. I was halfway through making one for Mega Man fan games.
I remember that.
I literally recorded all the dialogue. I had like the music put in. I had recorded most of the gameplay footage, but I scrapped that one.
Why?
Because I fucking fell off of Mega Man hardcore. Like,
why get rid of it? You deleted all of it?
yeah, all of it.
Why not just save it and come back to it later?
Because, well, I don't want to come back to it later.
Why?
It's just,
What if you get views for it?
Believe me, the attention I would get for making that video would be anything but positive.
I think that's still a mistake. You're doing Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights.
Yeah, but that's funny.
Are you in it for funny or you in it for views? I'm telling you. What if you did Scooby-Doo, which, now that you said this could be scrapped at any moment.
I'm not going to scrap this one.
Again, a year from now, you're going to go, well, boy, I had to re-upload my computer and the video got lost.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to do?
How's that Hot for Teacher drum cover coming?
What is this?
I'm leaning on my hand. How's that Hot for Teacher drum?
No, you're not.
cover?
You're like leaning behind it.
I'm hiding my chin like Leafy is here.
Are you leaning or are you hiding?
Pyrocynical, rice gum, Keemstar, they are all our words.
No, I mean, Brock, maybe you know about this. I told Alex, I was like, you should do Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. He's like, I'm not going to do that. And then finally, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think I am. Alex said, like, okay, I'll do it, but you have to play the game. And I said, okay. And there was like a slight hesitation in Alex's voice, as if he was thinking, oh shit, he actually agreed to it. So then I remember the first 2 days went great. 49% done with the game. And then the third or fourth night, I'm like, hey, want me to come over? Sure enough. Well, you know, I'm working. I got some stuff to do. And then weeks went by. And then I finally, didn't I just come over the third night and just beat the rest of the game? Or was it 2 nights?
I think it was split up into 2 nights.
So like 4 sessions, like beat the whole thing. And all I heard at the end of it was, well, I got some ideas. And then that was it. Completely monotone. I didn't hear like, I'm so excited to work on this project.
Hey man, what am I, chopped liver? Yes.
Okay, what other games?
Minecraft versus Terraria would be pretty easy to.
Would you ever do Resident Evil 7?
Maybe.
No, not Resident Evil. The games, just 7.
Just 7. If I would do that, I'd probably do 7 and 8 because those games are kind of like the same game.
I feel like it's just one or all of them. Because if you said you're gonna do what games were you gonna do? There are 5 of them.
Metroid.
So you're gonna do all 5 Metroid games.
Well, the 2D ones, yeah.
Okay. I feel like you should do one Resident Evil game, or you should probably just do all of them in one video. So review kind of like all of them.
Honestly, Alex, at some point I would love to do a review of the Metroid Prime games because those are the 3D ones, and I really enjoy those. I really enjoyed those.
I love Metroid Prime 1 and 2. The thing is, I haven't beat 2, and I haven't played 3, so I'd have to do that.
So you two should collaborate on a video.
Yeah, we'll 69 cartwheel up the iPic staircase.
The one that we'll do together, Mario Party. Since
I'm actually down
because I'm the Mario Party king.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that comeback I had?
Yeah.
I will say though, I would 100% watch a Night of 100 Frights video if you guys make it.
No, that's the thing. If it were up to me, I'd be making it right now. I'd be working on it every day, but it's not in my possession. It's not on my computer. Plus, you'd make it way, way the hell better. Although, I'll be honest, lately I've been wanting to make my own quote-unquote videos.
Then make the videos, dude. Go for it.
Well, the problem with
making video essays.
Well, the problem is, like, video essays are a fine thing. They're either like 10 minutes long or 50 minutes long. Like you said, they're all kind of the same, so you got to find your own unique voice. But then the very last thing is like, I got to pick one and commit to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a few ideas, but it's different. I'm not going to do my own video game reviews because I don't know nothing about that kind of stuff. And even if I did, I haven't even played all the Mario Party games. I've only done 4 through 7.
And well, you played 8.
Yeah, but I couldn't give you a review for it. Like, I could say 5 is my favorite to play with people, and 4 is my favorite to play by myself. Okay. Yeah. And then 6 and 7... 6 and 7 are victims of, they were really good and really fun when I first played them, but I just played them so much. The magic's a little gone, which might not be the video game's fault. But also, 6 and 7 got a little too big and ambitious. Remember 7 was like, you could have 7 players playing in one minigame and all that stuff. And you're like, okay, this is kind of cool, but you can't do anything with it. And then 6 was... 6 is the day versus night. What's the story mode in that? Like, what's the final boss?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't even think it had one. 4, 5, and 7 at least had one. But yeah, I really do think you should keep doing the video games, and I think you should do them all. So that one that you scrapped...
Every video game ever made.
Hey, why not? Well, not say why not, like, do it, but broaden. Do everything. Like, I'm trying to look. What is that? Phantom Pain?
Oh, I am not doing Metal Gear Solid.
Why not?
I am not doing Metal Gear
Okay,
Solid.
I have I'm guessing an answer, but why?
Because you get to
Because they're long and complex, and the lore is very dense, and it's easy to get details wrong if you miss like one little thing.
Okay, fair.
That is true. They are very long, and they have a lot of story.
Okay.
When you get to Metal Gear Solid 4, essentially, the entire game is one big fucking cutscene with a little tiny bits of gameplay. So you're basically playing a movie.
Well, I know someone who would love that. Wait a second. The whole thing's a cutscene? Wait. You know what I'm getting at.
Well... Zane, get in here.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, well,
isn't Zane the one who wants you both to play Metal Gear?
Yeah, but here's the thing. He chickened out halfway through Pikmin 2, so,
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Why did he stop again?
Because in his eyes, when you see credits roll, that's the end of the game. Even though Pikmin 2 is kind of weird, where the credits are at the end, like, in the middle of the game.
Well, if he knows the game's not over, why didn't he keep playing?
Because he also said that he wasn't really having fun with it, and it's like...
Well, he should have opened with that.
He should have opened with that. Instead, he opened with, I saw the credits, so the game's basically over.
Or maybe, unless there was a meme reason, or a joke reason.
I don't know, either way.
Yeah, the credits have rolled. I'm leaving the theater, said no Marvel viewer ever.
Oh, but don't even get started with Marvel movies, because Zane hates those.
Does he hate them, or just not like them?
I have a sneaking suspicion that he doesn't think they're real cinema.
They're cinema. This is like the
is
music
he gonna
debate.
Play
It's
Martin
like,
Scorsese?
well, it's like
Basically, yeah.
it's like, look, it's music, but you don't like it, but it's still music. These are movies. It's cinema. It's just it's a specific type of cinema, and you don't like it, and then that's what it is.
No, like I don't think I'm misquoting Zane here, but we went to get sushi one night. Remember, it was me, him, and Chris, and he started talking about how like movies are like going to the movie. It's no longer about cinema. It's like there's no cinematic movies. It's all just like superhero crap, which fair enough. But it's like in his eyes, what constitutes as a movie and what constitutes as cinema are two different things. When he talks about cinema, he means like something that'll make you question your reality. Something, and immediately I'm like, David Lynch. David Lynch.
Well, there are plenty of movies I've seen.
If you like those movies, that's totally fine. But my thing is like you can't bash one type of genre and then be like, oh yeah, this is the real genre that people should be watching.
It's a little, holier than thou.
He literally admitted, he was like, yeah, that was probably the most pretentious thing I've ever said in my life.
Well, again,
and I was like, yep, anyway.
Well, again, just because you admit it doesn't mean you can keep saying it and get away with it. But, I mean, I don't know. It's like, let's go see Jackass in the theaters. Why can't we just go to the movies and just watch a bad movie and just laugh at it and do the straw in the cup thing? I mean, why does everything have to be like this religious, quote-unquote, religious experience when you go to a movie theater? You know how many bad movies I've seen in the theater? I saw Unfriended alone in the movie theater.
Oh, no.
And I enjoyed it because it's like, this would be better if it was a student film that was like 10 minutes long rather than this, just stretching the thing out. Or When you
I like when the
saw
one guy
Hobbs and
gets
Shaw.
and stuck in the fucking blender.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Remember when we saw Hobbs and Shaw?
That
Was it the best cinematic experience ever?
No, but
absolutely not.
No, but the entire time we were just like, it's Megalodon.
Exactly. You
It's
go.
really funny.
You go to just shoot the shit with your friend and watch and just go like, because I was not expecting that Megalodon one-liner. That's like one of the highlights of that year.
He's a real asshole. His name's Megalodon.
That's where it's just like, let's relax a little
The
bit.
Meg was so bad.
But you didn't see that in the theater,
I
did
didn't
you?
see it in the theaters, but I did watch it. Oh my god, it was so
I
fucking
wanted to
bad.
see that in the theater, and you're like, I don't want to. And I'm like, why? It's bad. That's the point. It's bad, and we go and watch and laugh at
My
it.
cousins watched it, and they were so excited about it. They literally watched it with me again. They were like, no, trust me. The twist will get you. And I was like, is there a second Megalodon?
What?
They're like, no.
The Megalodon's gonna
No.
unzip itself?
Yeah.
And it's the Pink
It
Panther?
was me, J.P. Morgan. I sunk the Titanic.
Yeah, the Meg actually sunk it, and the Meg unzips itself. It's J.P. Morgan's skeleton. I mean, come on, people. Let's chill here.
Wake up, sheeple.
Wake up, people.
Oh my goodness.
You think the Meg was the actual star of that movie?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Why don't you do Wario World?
I was actually thinking, what if I did every GameCube game?
How many GameCube games are there?
A lot.
Well,
Not an undoable amount, but a lot.
why not? Well, here's the thing. Don't limit yourself to GameCube. Why don't you do GameCube? Then you do Wii. Then you go to PlayStation. Then Nintendo DS or something like that. Satisfy the fan bases of all the consoles rather than GameCube. Everyone else.
Well,
That'd be a lot funny.
okay, so we did Pikmin, and that's like...
I didn't do. You did Pikmin.
I
I didn't do. You want to give me credit? Okay. I did Pikmin. I helped out. I wrote the script.
you were the first person I showed the first half of the video to.
Well, yeah, but I didn't contribute shit to it. I got a sneak peek in the test screening,
The test.
which was a huge honor, but I didn't do anything.
So, well, that satisfies the niche Nintendo soy boy fandom. The
Okay.
Yeah. And then Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights will satisfy the Hanna-Barbera /
That'll satisfy-
obscure cartoon tie-in game.
That'll
fan
satisfy
base.
fans like me, where they're casual gamers, and they'll be like, hey, I remember that game. I played that game. I really liked it. But, like, actual gamers, you know...
It's like, wow, he's not even playing Call of Duty Ghosts. Fucking unsubscribe.
Yeah, those gamers might just be like, oh, they might pass it, or watch it for a meme. Or you might throw in some one-liners that people might use. Like, I listen to the Michael K show. I quote that show all the time in real life.
Well, and so then Metroid, what that's going to do is that's going to be a more mainstream video. Because more people know about Metroid than Pikmin.
To be honest, I never heard Metroid. Probably until I met you years ago. But before that, I never heard it once.
Bruh. You are
Well,
not the...
Metroid Doctor start in Smash, you know? Everyone saw him in his suit and said, wow, that Metroid, he sure is cool with that red and yellow suit there. I wonder what he does.
I love
I
love Metroid. He's my favorite character.
I love Metroid. I'd make out with him if I could. No, what I'm saying is, like, you go up to my dad, you say, yeah, you know Metroid? He's going to go, is that a subway system? But if you say, you know Mario, he's going to go, yeah, the video game character. That's what I'm kind of basing it on.
Yeah, the guy who was played by Chris Pratt.
I'd be amazed if my dad knew that.
No,
Okay, so Metroid is
yeah.
the mainstream one.
Terraria versus Minecraft. I think
Okay.
that one would be like the most, because once again, Minecraft, most best-selling game of all time. Terraria is like number 12 in the best-selling games of all time.
Isn't Grand Theft Auto number 2?
It is. It's still.
Would
still
you ever
number 2.
consider doing that?
Because
you got the Xbox crowd. The problem
the problem with GTA 5.
you do Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or I was gonna say Ghostbusters, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty.
The problem with Ghostbusters 2016, what can I say that hasn't been said by an adult white man in his basement with all of his Star Wars Kenner action figures on the wall?
Answer the
Well,
call.
not much.
Answer the call.
But no, if you open yourself to do Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, there's a lot of games. So you probably wouldn't it make sense to kind of just do all of them, like do each game in one video, rather than we're gonna do Assassin's Creed Revelations and then Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
I'd also want to do Paper Mario. Cause
yeah, do that. That's your favorite game ever, right?
Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, yeah.
Why don't you do that? That's your favorite game. Why don't you do that one? It's your favorite song ever. Why haven't you done it? Well, come on.
It's on the back burner. I started writing a script for it.
Are you gonna scrap it? Are you gonna get 90% of the work done and be like,
no, but
nah, delete?
So, okay, the only reason I deleted the Mega Man one is because the Mega Man community that makes fan games, I don't like them anymore. Like, most of the people in that community are just, like, mean-spirited and just, like, ruined that whole series for me.
Well,
I know what you're probably gonna say. Don't let people ruin it for you. They kind of did.
well,
So
you can't let them.
And I just don't. And I didn't want to. And I don't want to give them
free advertisement. Yeah.
Well, either free advertisement or give in case I say something about the game that they made that they don't like, and they're like, "Oh, Alex is a fucking toxic piece of shit. He said this about my game. He used a word I don't like," and then like they just
So is
do a
it?
shit show about it.
Are you? What is it? Is like afraid they're gonna do something?
It's not afraid. It's just like I don't want to deal with it.
You could just ignore. You could do what I do, which is just delete and then just ignore it.
Well, either way, I just my heart wasn't in it.
Okay, again, you should have opened with that rather than the community.
Well,
Here's no one's gonna listen to that.
The problem with the Mega Man community. I'm gonna close the window. It's cold.
I'm just saying, if you had said my heart wasn't in it and I wouldn't have given it my all, that's relatable. I get that, but don't let the fan base for that ruin it for you. Especially if you're not going to talk to them. Who cares? And you're not giving them free. You're talking about Mega Man, not the Mega Man community. So you're giving Mega Man free advertising, not the very small community of Mega Manners.
Mega Manners.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would refer to those as the Mega Manners. You guys Mega Manners? You like Mega Man? That's the community. We're Mega Manners.
Where?
But you can use that. You can use that in the video.
No,
You gotta be careful.
charge.
That sounds like pretty gendered language, and I don't think some people would take too kindly to that.
Mega Manners.
Entirely speaking seriously.
Well, I mean, you got manners. Mind your manners. Mega Manners.
Why is it manners? Why not womanners?
That'd be
Why
kind of
is it
funny.
Nanners, the hit YouTube VTuber star who's a woman who pretends to be a cat on the internet?
You know what? I gave you an idea, and you kindly refused. So I'm using the idea in our go-to series. You remember what it was?
No.
When you uploaded your Pikmin video, I said you should do this, and you're like, that's funny, but I don't want to. And I'm like, are you sure?
What was it? I don't remember. Now you don't want to tell me?
No, I'll tell you. I was going to wait for the next video, but I'll just tell you now. You were going to upload it on, like, the 1st. I'm like, oh, the 1st of the month. And you're like, what? And I'm like, 1st of the month. Like, you pay rent. It's due on the 1st month. And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, you know what you should do? You should upload this video on the 1st of the month. And your next video should come out on, like, the 14th of the month. And every video starts with, hey, guys, it's the 1st of the month. You know what that means? New video. And then next month, it's like, hey, guys, it's the 14th. You know what that means? New video. And every month, it's just a different
day.
A different day. And you kindly refused. And I'm like, damn. So years went by. And when I did the go-to, I'm like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys, it's the 2nd of the month. And I believe our first go-to is upload on the 2nd. So the next time we do a video, it ain't going to be on the 2nd.
All right.
It'll be some random other day. And then the other idea I just thought of now, you know how I said Mega Manners?
Mm-hmm.
Every game you do, you should come up with some
Yeah,
nickname for
Five
that
Nights at
community.
Freddyers.
You're just some
Resident Evilers.
What's up, Resident? What's up, All Rise?
Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frightzers.
Scooby-Dooers.
You know what I want to do now that you've just said that?
What?
I feel like there'd be a huge market for this. Do a Five Nights at Freddy's lore recap and retrospective, but every detail is incorrect and quickly goes off track. It's like, yeah, everyone remembers the most important pivotal moment of the first game when John Cena came in and said, "Freddy Fazbear, you're gonna stop your evil right now, or you'll be on the receiving end of an attitude adjustment."
Attitude Adjustment by Aerosmith? That's an actual song.
And then that song plays in the video, and the video gets DMCA'd.
DMCA'd.
And then I hire the people of the band Trapped of the song Headstrong, and we go take the DMCA to the highest court in the United States, and we say, Headstrong, take you on! And then they'll be like, do you have an actual case? And they'll be like, no.
No.
And then we'll lose a bunch of money.
What about Shadow of the Colossus? I know you played that game a lot. That's what people say. Hey, do you like this girl?
Well, okay. Hear me out.
Oh boy. Is this? Am I gonna say a game? You're gonna give me
No.
reasons why you're
Hear
not
me out.
going to.
Hear me out. So
Okay.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
Is one of 3 games made by the same studio.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like in the same universe. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's a game called Ico. ICO. Ico.
Great game.
I mean, it is. I've never played it.
Me neither.
And then there's The Last Guardian.
It's a great game.
It's a little bit tedious, I will say that.
A little tedious. Okay.
What, Ico or the other one? Or Ico?
Ico.
Eco.
Ico.
Eco?
It's
Ico.
the problem with the
Eco.
pronunciation.
Okay, so Ico's tedious.
So, well, I mean, I'd still want to play it to see, but like, if I were to do Shadow of the Colossus, I'd want to do those 3 games. So Shadow of the Colossus, Eco, and then
What?
The Last Guardian.
Last Guardian.
Okay, so yeah, just do that.
Well, I don't own Eco or The Last Guardian.
I'll buy it for you.
The Last Guardian is probably like $14 used. The Eco is on
I thought it was Ico.
I'm going crazy. No. I think it's a little expensive. I'm not quite sure. It's on PS2. It's one of those like rarer PS2 games. That's the only thing.
It's also in collections though. There was a PS3 game released called the Eco Collection that has Shadow of the Colossus and Eco on it.
True. And the thing is, there's like 3 versions of Shadow of the Colossus. There's the original on PS2 that runs at like 10 frames a second. Mm-hmm. There's the one on PS3 that runs a little bit better. I don't own a PS3 though. And then there's the one for PS4 that I also have that was a remake. Mm-hmm. And that one's pretty good.
You should do Luigi's Mansion.
Like all 3 of them. I don't want to play. I don't want to play Dark Moon.
Just do the original. You leave out the other 2. You can give him a dishonorable mention, but everyone cares about the first Luigi's Mansion.
That's fair.
No one's gonna sing it. Yeah, I'm a casual gamer at best. That's me being nice, and even I know Luigi's Mansion, solid.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Yeah, I want to play it again.
Yeah, Linguini's Maison is a great cooking show. It's no Anthony Bourdain, but it's pretty solid.
Maison.
What about Jens Kidman? His cooking show, Jens Kitchen.
I replace my. I don't know. He's like he needs to replace an ingredient, so he's like, I replace my avocados with like I don't know.
2 pulls of sugar.
I don't know.
You could do Lego Star Wars.
Oh fuck that! You know, Dion wanted to play Lego Star Wars with me, and I was like, fuck yeah, sure, why not? We played it. We played through like this one jet like bike segment in like on the Endor planet. Like it was the most painfully tedious, upsetting level. We like halfway through, we were like, we don't want to play this anymore.
Well, I do think it'd be kind of cool if you brought in a guest on some, if they're a fan of the game. Like if you did Mario Party, I'd make a cameo appearance, and then Dion would. Maybe...
Dion could be like Dark Souls or.
Oh, you should do Dark Souls. Brock, what game would you like to cameo in?
No, you said Metroid Prime already.
Okay, what else?
Metroid Prime I could do, because I have played more Metroid Prime than any human being should. I actually own 7 mint condition copies of the original Metroid Prime.
Would you let me borrow one if I asked?
Yeah? I have several non-mint conditions of Metroid Prime that I would lend you.
There you go.
Oh my! Hey, certain person, sir, are you listening? Did you hear that?
There you go.
Brock, we give Zane shit for this because he let's just say it, because you were done. You were done.
But I left it. I left it blank.
Okay.
Look, the running joke was I think I asked, or I hinted at Zane saying like, "Hey, could I borrow this game?" And he essentially said no. And then months later, he was bragging about how he had 5 or 6 copies, like mint condition of this game, and I'm like, but I can't borrow one of them. And he was kind of like he forgot, so he kind of had to own it. Like, well, yeah, well, I'm not gonna let you borrow any of them. So now it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, you got 13 copies, but I can't borrow like one of them and give it back after a day or so.
So the fact that you just said
7 mint copies.
And with such generosity and happiness in your voice while saying so, kind of really doesn't make Zane seem.
You know
like...
what? No. Here's what I heard in Brock's voice. I heard a little. Well, you know what? Sure. I already got 7 of these things. You can borrow one, and borrow means you're gonna give it back. So it's all good, man. There you go.
See, I find Metroid Prime copies fairly easily though. Like if I found another one at a yard sale now, and I knew you were looking to play it, what I'd do is I'd drop like the $5-10 on a copy of Metroid Prime, knowing that you wanted to play it, and I'd mail it to you. You know, like that'd be the difference. There is like, given the situations here, I have a bunch of copies of it, but if I knew you wanted one, like if I knew you just wanted a copy of Metroid Prime, I'd figure out a way to get you one. Why the fuck not? You know.
And there's that other aspect of it too. And Zane has done that before, although he did it with a console. Like, he called me at random. He's like, hey, I'm at Goodwill. There's this PlayStation 2 here. You want me to get it for you? And I'm like, thanks, but no, I'm okay. And he's like, well, I know you were talking about it. All right, see you later. One of the best phone calls I've ever had. Anyways, I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, gee. All right.
You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Korn and Brock, baby. All right. Don't give him the copy. Don't give him the copy. It's not worth it.
I don't see any issues for coming of that. Like, why wouldn't I just get him a copy of the game? And then I'd be like, wow, now Stone is one of my many contacts and confidants upon whom I can rely in my hour of need when I call in a favor.
I've done this simply so Stone can be under my wing. I've recruited another foot soldier. I don't know. Metroid Prime, yeah, I'm down to do like a thing. It's just like,
give yourself some space between playing Prime 1 and Prime 2, because echoes can make people mad when they realize that they have to do similar sort of like gather all the items and equipment quests like the first one again. Like, I mean, every Metroid game's like that, but like the last time I was playing the Prime games with another person and we start echoes, they were like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, yeah, it's a Metroid game.
I'm really curious how I'll feel about 3, because I've heard such mixed things about it.
I personally like it. It's definitely a little more clunky than the first 2, though, because it does all these didactic narrative plot things that the first 2 just kind of told through the environment and the levels.
What? But here's the thing: should I wait until 4 comes out? Because like it would be a pretty.
4 is gonna come out in any adequate time frame, Alex. We've been waiting upwards of 15 years.
How many years? It was announced like 5 years ago. It was teased 5 years ago, wasn't it?
It was teased officially 5 years ago. It was hinted at and teased informally long before that.
I mean, like, sure. It's like, oh, well, it might not ever come out, so why wait? But it's like, knowing my luck, I'd be like, all right, fuck it, who cares? And I'd finish the video, and then the next day it'd be like E3, and they'd be like, one last trailer, and it would be like Metroid Prime 4, and it's like, coming out in 2 weeks. And I'd be like, god damn it.
Well, in that case, then you've got yourself an entire video that can be a pre-release thing. It's like a retrospective on all the other Prime games to catch you up as the new Prime 4 is announced. Then you just have to do like a quick addendum thing at the very start of it. Just a quick edit with your avatar standing there with his arms crossed going, now the problem with making videos...
Right? Is that the companies will always fuck you over and release the game right as you're about to upload the video. Fuck, dude. I just need Pikmin 4. That's all I want. Fuck Metroid Prime 4. Fuck whatever the hell else. I just want Pikmin 4. That's all I want. It's all I've ever asked for. My idea for a... Oh, Jesus. I just realized Stone's probably negotiating. If I were to do Paper Mario, I'd want to do it in 2 parts. The first part where I talk about the first 3, and then the second part where I talk about the bad ones. And I don't know. Like, I don't think I'm ready to experience that level of heartbreak again. Like, there's a difference between getting your heart broken by a loving dame who you thought was going to follow you till the end of time, and then there's hoping that the next Paper Mario game was going to be good, and then it's Sticker Star. Like, it's a special type of hell. It's a special type of hell.
Falling in my skin, these wounds will not heal.
I don't know if you've ever experienced a level of disappointment that grand before, but I have to say, I don't think anything in my life will ever be as disappointing.
The ending to Captain Earth, yes.
Oh, right, yeah. That I remember you told me about that. Jeez. Well, fair. I don't know. I guess for me, that moment, for you, that was the end of Captain Earth. For me, it was finding out that Paper Mario Sticker Star fucking sucked. And that Paper Mario would never, ever be like the 1,000-Year Door or the original ever again.
Yeah. That is El Drago Majoro. I'm deeply sorry, Spanish friends.
To our one Spanish viewer, I'm sorry. Sorry.
El programa Korn and Kock en español.
I don't know. Now I talked about Sticker Star, and I just want to go back to bed. Like, it's one of those things that really, it just sucks the air out of the room. You just, once it's been talked about, it's like, oh, it really is that bad. And people will sit there. I'm sure there'll be some people who'll be like, oh, it's not that bad, or like, oh, well, there's no way it could be that bad. And it's like, nah. There's some things in this world that shouldn't have been made. You know, a Serbian film, Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Holland.
Yes. Oh, jeez.
The entire decapodal part of the animal catalog.
Speaking of decapodal animals, Mechanomaki, how's that going? Plug yo shit.
It's going pretty good. Hoping to have it out the gate pretty soon after Adobe fucked me over and deleted a bunch of the pages with a system update that Windows pushed.
Was it one of those ones that kind of just like snuck up on you? Was it one of those ones that you could postpone? Or was it one of those ones where it literally just restarted in the middle of working?
Hard restart in the middle of shit. It was really annoying.
Oh, fuck. What operating system do you have? Do you have Windows 10?
Windows 10.
Which is strange, because that's never happened to me. It always, like, warns me ahead of time. Like, a little icon will appear on my taskbar, and it'll say, like, we need to update your computer. And then I can postpone it till later. It's never done that thing where it's like, we need to restart your computer right now. And it's like, you can't postpone it. Like, that's just never happened to me. And, like, I'm wondering why it happens to some people, but, like, that's never happened to me.
It makes me sad.
I'd be sad, too.
It makes me say to myself, I'm gonna have to turn into an SMT protagonist and fight God.
Do you think you'll ever actually run into somebody named Ding Quan? And it'll be like a come...
It'd be really funny if I do.
It'll be a come to Jesus moment where it's like, oh shit, oh my god, what is happening? What karmic injustice have I done to deserve this?
I'm waiting because like when it happens, I'm gonna think that I can manifest people into existence. So I'll be like, yeah, that really fucking annoying goth maid with gigantic heaving breasts. Yeah, I sure would hate to run into her.
If you, what was it? The mind machines you were talking about in your story. You think about it. Enough people think about it. It
Yeah, the
becomes
meta
reality.
machines. Yeah. I might have to even fucking change their names now, depending on how litigious Facebook is with their new stupid thing.
What's
the
that?
metaverse.
Oh. Yeah. Is it like a thing where you're afraid you might get like a cease and desist from good old Zuck?
Well, it's one of those things where it stands to reason. What are they going to call their things that are in the metaverse now that they have created one? Now that their company's called Meta, what will they call the machines that they use? Oh. Unless I beat them to a trademark and then beat Mark Zuckerberg in a fight.
I would honestly say do it just to watch him squirm. See his lizard eyes twitch as he goes.
Mark Zuckerberg's claw, like raptor claws, tighten on his pants legs at the Facebook HQ CEO meeting as I on his screen. I'm like, listen here, pencil neck. I'm the gorilla that's going to put an end to your presidency.
How much do we have to pay you? There's no amount. There's no amount that could suffice the amount of torture I'm putting you through right now.
I'm streaming me trolling you right now and making millions of dollars. Super chats are going to me from all corners of the world, from people who hate you, or Jesse Eisenberg pretending to be you in the movie.
I really want to watch that movie again, but I don't want to pay for it.
Wow. If only there was something that Mark Zuckerberg did in college and university while developing Facebook where he could access movies and files for free from a site that would give them to you without having to go through a marketplace. I'm sorry, I can't remember what that's called.
Yeah, Craigslist.
It'd be really funny to do a parody of Craigslist called Dregs List. You know, it's just like it's full of the dregs of society.
Funny toothless man will juggle for $6 an hour. Toothy Timothy will do birthday parties and business meetings. You have to provide the juggling balls and the unicycle, though.
And you've got to provide the nitroglycerin for the finale.
What the fuck is he gonna do? Play Mr. Freeze and fucking freeze everybody?
No, nitroglycerin. He's going to go from toothless Timothy to everythingless Timothy.
He
formless Timothy.
Oh, he gonna blow up.
Formless, formerly Timothy.
He gonna blow up and pretend like he don't know nobody.
My main goal is to blow up like Christian Slater in a Scion XB in an elementary school parking lot.
Oh no. What movie is that again?
I don't remember, I just think it's funny.
Because if there's a movie where something's going on in a Scion XB, I feel like I'm obligated to check it out. I love my Scion XB, even if it does have like 250,000 miles on it.
Can you imagine like a movie that's like, it's a similar premise to Green Book, where it's like two mismatched people figuring out race relations traveling across America, rather than taking place in a sporty, vintage, automobile. They're in a Scion XB that's completely out of the times that's supposed to happen. It's like, Henry Ford has just invented the first Model T. Fuck that shit. I've got a Scion XB. What are you all smoking?
I really want to make I think this would actually be like a great idea for like a film. Basically, it's like Frosty the Snowman, but when Frosty the Snowman comes into being, he just like he becomes a doomer, and he has to go to like the courthouse and like get a social security number, and like you know, he has to get a job. He needs to find out where he's going to stay. Like it's Frosty the Snowman, but he's just a normal person. So he's just like, why did they curse me to be a fucking eldritch abomination, a horror that mankind was not ready to experience? And meanwhile, the kids are just following all over the place. He's like, do a flip, Frosty, and he's like, fuck off! I'm trying to file my W-2.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
I honestly think there would be a market for that kind of movie.
Absolutely.
Where it's not really like, but the thing is, I think most people would hear that and they'd be like, "Oh, that sounds like a Seth Rogen, James Franco type movie," which I don't totally disagree with, but I think it could be more than that, like more substantial than that. I think they're like kind of almost like a Bad Santa type deal, but like, I don't know. We were talking
If
about
Seth Rogen did, it would be titled something like "Friggin' Frosty." Oh, friggin' Frosty.
Frosty, you're alive. Oh God, why do I look like this?
You remember the thing in SpongeBob where they're like singing the song to bring the snowman to life, and they're like, "There once was a Sandman," and then like SpongeBob goes through and he's like, "Dick Dream, kids!" And they're like, maybe we sang the wrong song.
Life's as extreme as you wanna make it.
I think that would be funny.
They instead of summoning a happy, jovial snowman character, they summon an eldritch beast from the pits of hell that starts devouring kids across the countryside.
Isn't that the plot of the very first South Park episode?
Well, the pilot was Santa fighting Jesus. And then I'm pretty sure the first episode was Cartman gets abducted by aliens and gets a fucking probe up his ass. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I'd have to ask my brother. He's the South Park expert of the two of us.
I've been meaning to watch South Park from the beginning again. The only thing is like there's that one episode where Mr. Garrison gets the sex change and they actually show real footage of like a sex change operation, and that like scarred me for life the first time I saw it, and I don't remember what episode that is. So like it's going to be a ticking time bomb until I get to that episode. And then I just, like, fucking have to, like, close my ears and eyes until I know it's over. Ugh.
Yeah, that one was a little unnecessary, I think.
It just... Welcome back.
Hey, I'm back.
We were talking about South Park.
Oh.
And how there was that one episode where Mr. Garrison gets the sex change, and they actually show someone's balls getting cut off, and it scarred me for life.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
Well, you should count yourself lucky. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, well, right when it came up, I just look away, and if anyone was sitting right next to me, made fun of me, I would have been like, well, you know what? You're a better man than me. Anyways, I got to show you something.
Oh, boy.
So Coyotes won.
Yeah.
It went into overtime.
Uh-huh.
There was kind of a call that went our way. It's one of those things where this is like it's different thing when you make fun of somebody, but when they make fun of you and you go, dude, that's not funny. Don't say that. It's like, come on, guys. So there was kind of a holding call, and it benefited the Coyotes, and, you know, the Matthews was yelling on the ice, and everybody was like, this isn't the first time the NHL saved the Coyotes. They're just roasting, you know, everybody. So there's this guy who he covers the Leafs, and he tweeted, not the first time the NHL has saved the Coyotes, to be fair. So I posted that. And
it's a picture of Squidward on the ground reaching his hand out, and he's like, "Ah!"
And I captioned it, Leaf fans when they lose literally one game to the Coyotes.
It's pretty good.
So we'll see if anyone
comments on that, they're like, dude, that's not funny.
No, they're gonna go like, oh yeah, Coyotes are. How many seats are in their Tempe Arena? Oh, 5,000. Oh yeah, whatever. Which, to be fair, is true, but it's what it is. We've won 4 in a row, baby. We got 40 points on the year. That was a miracle at the beginning of the season.
Russell's FanDuel is it's going for a nosedive.
Well, you know what was funny with Russell? He's won more money betting for the Coyotes than against them. I told him that in the beginning of the year. Well, it's like I know what I'm talking about. But of course,
I wonder how he would have made so much money that night that we went out to Whataburger, and we didn't bet on the Coyotes.
I know, and you took the dark side. You went to the dark side, and went for FanDuel Russell. And what happened? Good always beats evil. And you were a villain that night. Man. Wow, 2.5 hours.
This one's a beefy one.
Is this our longest?
No, the longest was the one with Brock and Drag. Because it was 2 parts.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was 2 parts. This is going to be just one.
Yeah.
All the way.
And if people have a problem with it, they can meet me in the streets.
Oh, yeah, but Joe Rogan could go for 4 hours and 40 minutes with Alex Jones. No problem.
That was funny.
I mean, I'm almost as interesting as Alex Jones. I've definitely been doing as many conspiracy theories.
You fucking goddamn fucker.
Now, listen here. The vampires in the government are forming a psychic gestalt in outer orbit around the planet Earth, right? And the reason they're doing that is because they want to turn your children into frogs. They want to turn your children into frog men who are going to pray to Frog God and empower him with their faith. And then when Frog God descends upon this Earth, he will wipe us all clean and introduce an amphibious race upon this Earth.
Let's do the Daily Bop.
Pull up the music. I don't want to do it on my desktop because the way that it's recording, it's recording both Brock's voice, but if I turn on the music, it would also record that.
Okay.
So I want to have them be separate.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right. Here we go. This is live.
I know.
I'm talking to the viewers, not you.
It is March 10th, Mario Day. Speak of the devil. It's time for the Daily Bub Cube roll. What do you have to say, Brock?
Let's roll!
Hey, pal, what am I? Shop liver?
Yes. It's Sleepy Face. What do you think?
Oh, you're still going?
Yeah.
Oh. Give me that. Oh, shit!
Stone just,
holy crap!
Stone just threw the Bub Cube at my phone and it fucking flew out of my hand onto the ground.
I didn't think I'd hit that thing spot on. That was a strike. Holy crap!
That was pretty good.
I gotta see that again.
This one's a funny one.
Well, the one yesterday was better.
Oh,
only because when you have that many people in a video.
No, what's fucking hilarious, Brock, is yesterday. I don't know if you saw the Daily Buff for yesterday, but I was hanging out with Stone, Zane, a bunch of other people, and we did one, and they were like, Stone and the others were making fun of me. They were like, "Oh, all your followers are on Twitter are all dudes, and they probably don't even give a shit about sports." One of the first comments.
No, I never said that.
Well,
I just said
somebody. Did.
Well, it wasn't me.
It was
said
probably Russell.
I said like 98% of your followers are male. That's what I said.
So maybe it was Russell that said that.
You're the one that keeps saying your followers don't know anything about sports. You said that, not me.
Point is, one of the first fucking comments we get is that guy wearing a Buffalo Sabres jersey? And they were talking about Stone, and I was like, yes.
Well, didn't someone say, like, how's somebody wearing a Hawks and a Sabres jersey and a brawl hasn't ensued?
That was funny. Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Daily Bup number, what is it, 134.
Yes, and it was Sleepy Face?
It was Sleepy Face, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You want some updates?
Yes.
On the Bup rankings?
Sure, but then let's call it. It's getting late.
Yeah. I got this podcast to listen to when I get home.
Fix that!
Fix that! All right. So you got 134.
Yep.
So in last place, Laugh Face at 13.
Okay.
which so
That's only 10%, eh? Just try 10%.
9%. You round it to 10 if you want to be nice, but we'll call it 10%. Sleepy Face at 16, Starface at 19, Nerd Face at 27. So between the top 3 and the bottom 3, there is a big gap. Pirate Face at 28 and Party Face at 31. So there are your rankings, or standings.
I wonder what it's going to look like at the end. I wonder if it's going to be more even spread, or if it's going to be like Party Face is going to have like 128. And then...
Honestly, I think Sleepy and Laugh are going to be at the bottom. I can't see them making a comeback. Because you think about it, you see it in sports all the time. If you put yourself so far back, even if you win 20 in a row, you're not coming back. And I think the most you've done in a row are 3 or 4. And I think it was Party Face, ironically. So, yeah, I think those two are cellar dwellers, as we call them in the business.
Korn and Kock rewind.
Sounds like the Sens to me.
Sounds like the Sens. Sounds like the Works. I can't wait to inherit the BUP, and I'm just gonna do a different song every day.
The first song. Osita Masaya Maya. Osita Masaya Maya.
And I'm gonna try to change it up. I think I was gonna do weekly, but where should I post it? Should I post it on Twitter or like on Facebook? I'm not doing it on YouTube.
You could do YouTube Shorts for the Rush Bauer channel. If they're like 30 seconds long, you could do them. You'd be like, "Hey, Daily Bup."
Do those get saved onto the channel?
Channel? Yeah, they do.
I say I don't really want them on the channel though. If only there was a way that I did it, but it went to your Twitter page.
But
you feel? So it's like, okay.
You record them, but then you send them to Alex?
Wait, say that again?
You record them, but then you send them to Alex?
Well, what do you think? Because it's like, I want you to get the views and the... I mean, you probably get followers on this. Right?
Honestly, today I asked my followers, I was like, why did you start following me, and why do you still follow me? And I wrote in like what I thought people were gonna say. It's like, I came for the boobs, I stayed for the butt cube. And a lot of people, a non-zero amount of people said the butt cube. So
it's nice.
It's a nice change of pace.
Because you do it every day, it could change. But that's the thing, is like, I want you to get those views. But then you just change it up and you have somebody else do it.
I think what I'm gonna do for the very last Buck Cube is I'm gonna like start doing it. I'm gonna have you like rush in, fucking like tackle me, and I'm gonna be on the ground unconscious, and you're gonna be like, "Finally,
I got it!" Oh, by the way, it's Laughing Face. I got it for a year, baby.
That'll be the last one.
Take man cube by force. Take man cube by force. I got the sauce. Up cube sauce.
But I've even
smoke trees.
I've even thought like hiking the top of a mountain and doing it.
And throwing it off and it gets stuck in a fucking patch of cacti where you can't grab it anymore.
You're like, alright, Daily Bup.
fucking
on that day, humanity received a boop reminder.
Fucking Russell was like, throw it off the top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah, that's a great
it's like,
idea.
yeah, good idea.
Get arrested for that. That's considered domestic terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna fly. I'll bring the Bup Cube to the Nintendo store.
Store.
I'll do it in the Nintendo store.
You're gonna bring it out. You're gonna carry that thing?
No.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like, really? It'd be one thing if you did it at Central Park. Well, I don't even know how close to Central Park we're gonna be.
All of a sudden, we see JonTron walking through the park, and I throw it at him, and he goes, "Ah!"
And he goes, "Hey!" No, I'm looking forward to inheriting the Daily Bup.
I'm sure you are.
I'm sure you are.
Alright,
my phone's getting dead.
I don't like your tone. I'm sure you are.
Oh, I'm Squidward, I have to work for a living.
Alright, Korn and Kock rewind. Play the clip.
Here's Kock.
Awesome clip. Thanks.
That would be a drop.
All right, so Brock came back talking about the Titanic and whack.
Titanic whack. Whack Titanic.
J.P. Morgan assassinated JFK.
No, that's the Phoenix Suns gorilla.
The Phoenix Suns gorilla. Well, I got a lot of ideas now, and I'm gonna work on them one every 3 years.
You're taking the tool approach to things.
Exactly.
So 13
Help
years.
Alex get to the next blank of the month.
Is it really true that you tried to do it and you couldn't do it?
What do you mean?
You know that picture.
Oh, the Help Maynard get to the new Tool album?
Yeah.
There was no solution to that maze.
And you're sure?
I'm dead serious.
Oh my god. Terrible.
That was the joke.
Well, yeah, it's terrible for that reason. Is because it's true.
It was very funny. Well, we talked about a lot of funny, epic crap.
We did. We talked about the problem with video essays. We talked about the problem with the Titanic theories. The problem with...
Problems?
I left. I don't know what you guys talked about. So there's the problem with the unknown. The Great Unknown by Iron Maiden. Yeah. What episode is this? Is this 55 or 56?
This is episode 50-something.
What are we going to do when we get to 69?
Have everybody who's ever been on the podcast before on again, except for PK Ouija, and then fucking just yell over each other.
You know what it's going to be? You're going to have 15 people all going, the problem with
Stone Cockler is...
The problem with reviewing GameCube games. The problem with... God, ever since you or Zane showed me the problem with meme, oh, it's so funny.
It's not a meme. It's just that's what people fucking do.
It's a meme. We've
made it into a meme.
Yes,
true. Well, actually, I'd say it is kind of a meme.
Well, anytime I hear you or Russell or myself, anyone just going to like, hey, do you guys like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? No. Well, I mean, here's the thing about it. In my head, all I hear... What?
The problem with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I don't even know if I've had Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Like ever?
I don't think so. Or maybe I did when I was younger and I didn't like it.
Crazy squares.
I mean, what's your favorite cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, so you probably felt a little more jabbed when...
I was so freaking mad.
I like Fruit Loops.
I burst out into a rage.
Dude, I should get Fruit Loops again.
Fruit Loops are fine.
They're good.
Well...
what?
You expect all of them to have different fruit flavors, but they all taste the same.
Spit on my finger again.
Oh my god. I'm just saying.
I really like Corn Pops.
Corn Pops? Wait, are those the big puffy yellow ones?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm... It's cool if you like them. I fucking hate those.
What about...
I can't stand those. I'm sorry.
What about Lucky Charms? I'm not a huge fan of Lucky Charms. I'll eat them. They're okay.
I feel like you just eat them.
They're okay like once a year on like St. Patty's Day and stuff.
Once a year.
It's like the way I imagine it is like you only eat them for the marshmallows, right? Like the actual grain cereal, like...
Well, it's like the chocolate cereal. You eat it for the chocolate. That's the only reason why I can't remember the cereal. There's some cereal that was just chocolate flavored, and that's why I wanted it.
Cocoa Puffs?
Cocoa Puffs. I think there's another one. I don't
Count
remember.
Chocula?
Maybe. But I think even my parents were like, well, this
Count
is...
Cockula?
They're like, this is just chocolate. And I'm like, yeah, but it tastes good.
It's literally just pieces of chocolate just broken up.
Yeah, so I mean, some of these things, it's like, it's cereal, it's breakfast, it's just chocolate.
Well,
just give your kid a Hershey bar, why don't you?
Right.
Okay, bye-bye, that's the podcast.
Oh, that's the podcast. Fucking.
Bye.
Oh, jeez. 2 hours and 35 minutes.
All right,
32,
Brock, give us our
34.
Give us our closing
35.
our closing words.
What's your closing argument? Or closing statement, sorry.
Do not trust cruise ships. If you have to get across the ocean, talk to a whale. They're very underserved after the pandemic. They're looking to get back on their feet with their business, help out our fellow sea-dwelling mammals, and take a whale to other countries. Do not use cruise ships.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, this is the last time Brock's ever going to be on the podcast, so see.
This is actually
Just kidding.
this is actually the series finale. That's why we went so long.
God, the whales are gonna be so pissed. All right, goodbye, everybody.
See you later.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Fuck.